By the holding head in hands emote. I didn't feel like making you guys wait the last of that minute. Also I'm done doing what I was doing. I was physically writing down what I have to do to get this ending, because I don't want to go back and forth on tabs. Ah, Spooky scared you. Shameful. You scared Bear and Nightfall. How dare. Shameful. Shameful, shameful. But yeah, are you guys ready for ending B? It's the ending that's been the most censored. Though I did look up exactly what was removed, because I was curious. It is 500 lines of dialogue that were taken out, so that's exciting. But it was specifically Takumi experiencing all the new gen murders. So I think I know I'm personally fine not going through that. I'm fine not going through that. Just making sure that I wasn't gonna skip any unread text, because that would be sad. Yeah, don't skip unread. Cool. Delusion trigger, cancel, skip. Yes. Cool. You're gonna grab more chipsies? Okay. But yeah, I have written down what we gotta do to get ending B, because we do have to... It's the only one that matters which delusions we experience, which is interesting. But I have all of that written down, including how to avoid the bad end. We figured it out on our own the last time, we don't have to do that again. But yeah, I'm willing to bet this is gonna be a time. And without further ado, let's hit start. What is the skip button?
視線が空からふっ
That's not the skip button.
いつも
Nope, not that. No. This? Yeah. Config. That'll tell me. Key config. Why is it only... I don't have a controller plugged in. Tell me the keyboard ones. For skip page left, what would be the equivalent on a keyboard? Oh, time to press buttons and find out. Is it space? No. Oh, nope. Not enter. Enter like proceeds. Nope. Don't make me plug in a controller. Oh, I know. E. But it got stuck. There we go. I just had to remember what it was in Steins Gate. I haven't had to skip much in Steins Gate, so... Sometimes... Stop getting stuck. Stop being a freak. Respect, trust. Man, that feels weird speedrunning this. Told just to click yes to avoid things. New tips default wait. Default. A word meaning standard. In computer lingo, it refers to the initial settings of a program. From there, it would come to mean normal or obvious in mid-2000s Japanese net parlance. Interesting. Welcome back with your chipsies. A real school swimsuit has the girl's name written on the chest. Oh boy. Oh god. There's no such thing as white school swimsuit. School swimsuits have to be dark blue. Okay, buddy. Yeah, sure. You like glasses, girls? Yeah, okay. Swimsuit plus glasses, that's the thing. Normally you take your glasses off if you're going swimming, right? Yeah. Yeah, as someone that wears glasses, yeah, that's what you would do. And yet the girl doesn't. That's what really gets the delusions going. A complete and utter perv. That's our Nightheart. We fear him, but we love him. Calm down, man. I mean, maybe I did get a little excited. Yeah? I try to be the cool, silent type. Cool! Lol. Man, this feels gross knowing who Grim is. Don't laugh. Anyway, what were we talking about? Okay, back to skipping. Oof. I was trying to be friendly here. A man's stomach ripped open, the body of an unborn baby stuffed inside. Oh. Oh, that's different. That's different. Just imagining it made me want to vomit. Yeah, that's fair. This Shogun guy was just so shady. It was making me delusional when I didn't need to be. Oh. At Cafe shortly past 3 a.m., like most weekends, despite the late hour, you could hear the sound of the keyboard coming from several places in the cafe. In room 37, there was a young boy staring into his PC monitor, not moving an inch. It's the new generational madness. We took a quick look. Yeah, we know the ordeal. Is this Grimm's perspective? This is... Are we in Shogun's perspective? We're in Shogun's perspective. What the fuck? For the first time, the unmoving boy reacted. His piercing eyes stared into the monitor from beneath his cap. He let out a soft whisper, too quiet for anyone else to hear. This is a delusion of the next new gen, isn't it? Wow. Once he saw that the person named Grimm had left the chat, he began to act. His wrinkled hands moved toward the keyboard. And the boy's goal was to make contact with Nightheart, to warn him and to make him afraid. His lips twisted slightly. To someone else, it might look like an expression of pain, but in fact he was smiling. Nightheart had reacted to his message. It might not have seemed like that big of a deal, but to him, it was a miracle. It's not over. I feel like that's new. But maybe I just don't remember. Suddenly, his hands froze. Remember. You don't know. But you know. The strange, seemingly meaningless whisper, one that seemed to be directed toward Nightheart on the other side of the screen. He tapped a single formula into the computer, fingers dancing lightly across the keys. IR2. Gazoop. Just a little funny URL name. Wow. Man, when I was getting stuck, it was actually new dialogue, and I skipped over it like an idiot. Whatever. Nightheart stopped reacting. He guessed that the boy was looking at all the links he copy-pasted into the chat. It might not have been a pleasant experience for Nightheart, but there was a reason he had to make sure they were seen. Are you scared? Because that's what will cause you to awaken. He talked to himself as he typed one last thing. Whose eyes are those? Whose eyes are those? Sonome daru no me. He left the chat room without waiting to see Nightheart's reaction. Then he took a small breath and tapped lightly on the wall of the little room. He heard the sound of someone standing up the next room over, the door to his own room, room 37, Open from the outside. A girl was standing there, unsmiling and with a stern expression. She grabbed onto the handles of the back of his wheelchair.
もう一人のあなたとは
Do you make contact with the other you? Yeah. His voice was calm and natural, but the girl could sense the slightest bit of tension in it.
何か
Did something happen?
西条匠
I
に接
wasn't the
触して
only
きた
one
の
who
は
made contact
僕だ
with
けじゃ
him,
なかった
with Takumi Nichijo.
おそらく
He's probably being
監視がついて
watched.
いる。
そっか
I see. She said nothing more, as she silently pushed his wheelchair toward the front of that cafe. Interesting. Well, most of these enemies were just haters, though. You know, guys who were jealous of Nightheart's strength and charisma. Sure, buddy. It was in a very old school. It had been built within the last 10 years. That's interesting information. Well, I guess the rules were really their name only. Nobody enforced them. By the time I arrived at the school gate, there were enough students around me that it was starting to get noisy. Hi, Misumi. To be honest, I was really surprised to hear that from him. As I looked at the excitement on Misumi's face, I finally understood it. I hated to disappoint Misumi when he was so excited, but I had no intention of going. I opened my mouth to squeak out some excuse, but he wasn't listening.
そしたら犯人と
Maybe
ば
I'll
っ
run
たり
into
会
her
っ
when
ちゃ
we
ったり
get
して
there.
な
You know, they say the
犯人
criminal returns to the scene of the
って
crime and stuff.
ってよく言うだろ
Okay, Misumi.
で次は
I guess you'd be
タ
her
ーゲ
next
ットにされ
target
るん
then.
だ
Atone for
死を
your
もって
sins
罪
with
を
death.
償う
Like that.
みたいな
Your sins can be,
罪状は
I
そう
don't
だ
know,
な
being a
引き
hikikomori,
こも
I
ってたからっ
guess.
てことで
僕は引きこもりじゃ
Not a hikikomori. I tried to protest. But I worried that he might hate me or try to bully me. I just gulped down my words. I bit my lip and looked away from him. I found myself looking around the room and saw something written on the blackboard. At first, I didn't really care what it was. All I noticed was that there was some writing there. But the more I looked, the more something seemed wrong. Huh. Finally, I leaned out of my chair.
ちょっと
Move
ど
out
い
of
て
the way! Ow. What's gotten
どうしたん
into
だ
you?
よ
I pushed past Mizumi and walked up to the blackboard. When I saw the words written there, I felt like my heart was strangling itself in my chest. Soname darenome. The words I always silently said to myself whenever I felt the gaze of God. I never told them to anyone else. There was no one to tell them to. Not even Misumi. Nobody in this class could possibly know that I said that phrase all the time. Why? Who? For what reason? I spun around and looked around the classroom. Only Misumi was paying any attention to me. Everyone else was talking to themselves, or reading manga they weren't supposed to have at school, or sleeping at their desks. Who wrote this? When did they do it? It's just a coincidence. Yeah. This is going to be happening a lot more often now that we got the first ending out of the way. This is kind of how you get on the route for the girls. But we are trying to avoid getting on other routes, so we're just going to say yes to everything. It's just a coincidence. That's a door. I'm hallucinating. Oh yeah, they are doors. Huh. That's interesting. Noted. Yes. Whoever did it is inside the school. Yes. They're taunting me. Sure. I want to erase it now. I guess so. Was that already on the blackboard when I'd come in? I couldn't remember. Usually I didn't pay any attention to what was on the blackboard.
なあ、
Hello,
どうしたんだ？
what's gotten into you? Misumi walked up to me and grabbed me by the shoulders to shake me. Good.
聞いてる？
Are you listening?
おーい、
Yo,
Taku.
Taku. It didn't matter who read them. It was just a coincidence. People use these words all the time. Uh-huh. Just some stupid scribbling. Yeah, just some stupid scribbling. I tried to tell myself that, but I was still really scared. I never did figure out who'd written them. I wanted to go around the class and ask, but I didn't have the courage. Before long, homeroom began. The teacher came in and asked, "Who wrote this on the blackboard?" He sounded annoyed and erased them. Interesting. It was really creepy, but I decided I was going to force myself to behave normally. If I let myself seem scared, I'd just be admitting the message had something to do with me. And I didn't, okay? It was just a coincidence. I kept telling myself that over and over, until it was time for me to go to a net cafe after school, just like I planned to do. Interesting. Hi, Ree. Was that scream always there? Hi, Dawn. Thank you for your contribution to the challenge. How's it going?
コーラしかないじゃん。ミルクティーとか用意
There's
しとい
nothing
て
here
よ。
but soda. You should keep some milk tea or something in stock.
知らんが
Don't
な。
tell me what to do.
しょうがないな。
Fine.
じゃ
I'll
あ、
just take a
コーラもらうね。
soda. As usual, she seemed to have no intention of asking for her brother's permission. She grabbed a bottle of soda, one that I'd already drank from, out of the fridge. She hesitated for a moment before swallowing it down. Tired? Aw. Disgusting. She put her lips right on it. How could a girl be so filthy? Gym time soon, though? Fair enough. Aren't you still like 2 or 3 hours ahead of me? You go to gym pretty late. This was the problem with 3D women. As soon as she left, I should throw that bottle out. You go out 1 or 2 a.m.? Damn. I appreciate your dedication, but damn. Hey, wait. Oh.
美味しかった。
That was delicious.
やっぱ運動の
It
後
feels
の
great
一
to
杯っ
drink
て
something
格別。
after you work out. I ran all the way here from school, you know. Empty gym is nice, just gym. Fair enough.
全部飲んだ
You
の
drank the whole bottle?
しかも一気
All
に
at once? I bought that soda with my own money. Being my little sister didn't give her the right to... Oh, no. Nanami stared at the now empty bottle in shock. She must have finally figured out how rude she was being.
どうしよう。また
I'm gonna
太っ
get
ちゃう
fat
な。
again. Oh, that's not how that works, but okay. Huh? Like how mochi.
お兄のせいだから。
This is your fault, brother. What's she talking about?
お兄がコーラ好きな
Your love of soda has turned me into a soda lover too.
人のせいにする
Don't blame me.
だってうち
The
の
fridge
冷
at
蔵庫
home
に入
was
ってるの
always full of
いつも
soda,
コーラだ
though.
ったじゃん。お母さんがお兄の
'Cause
こと
mom
甘
spoils
やかす
you.
からだ。知ってる？
Didn't you
コーラっ
know?
てカロリー
Soda has
すっご
tons
く
of
高いの。
calories.
だから
You shouldn't
お兄も
drink too
あんまり
much
飲
of
みす
it.
ぎない方がいいよ。今度からミルクティ
From now
ー
on,
にすべ
you should
き。
drink milk tea. Milk tea. Milk tea has basically the same calories as soda. Anyway, you don't gotta tell me what to eat. Especially after you drink all my soda. Did you come all the way here just to tell me that? That was cute. Okay, this is the other one. Okay. Yeah, this one we just need to be neutral though, so it's all good. I took a step back in shock. I couldn't take my eyes off her. It was like I was paralyzed. Suddenly, her lips moved. She was trying to say something. But the noise from the crowd was so loud I couldn't hear it. I strained my eyes to see what she was saying. Who... Z... I... Z... Or... The... Z... So... No... Me... Da... Re... No... Me... Exactly what you're gonna say, like milk tea is not a healthier option than soda. It might have more better micronutrients, but if you are calorie counting specifically, it's a wash. Yeah. My hair stood on end. Impossible. I was imagining things. I didn't know how to read lips. There was no way I was right. I just shook my head and forced myself to look away. It was clear that she'd said something, at least. No matter what it was. Doing that to a guy she never met was creepy as hell. I need to stay away from her. Me. Oh boy, another delusion. But this one's chapter 1, so it doesn't matter. Like, there's only 2 delusions per chapter that matters, and I only need to 10. I'm not sure if I got the first one because it didn't say I felt bad that I noticed in particular. But I am going neutral otherwise, so... Shrugs. Was she going to ask me to give her a Seiratan figure? Well, she couldn't have it. Nobody could come between me and my wife. I was going to part with Seiratan, no matter who asked, no matter how much money they offered. If she wanted her that bad, she could go buy her own. Sure, buddy. Never. Yeah. As I stood there mentally cursing her for daring to try and take my Seiratan, Yuwa suddenly fell backwards and landed on her butt. She was rubbing her behind, looking a little teary-eyed. Meow. The little things that are different are really interesting, specifically getting Shogun's point of view of their chat. So I wonder what else will be different. Oh boy, Ghetto Froggy. I didn't understand. I had this sense of deja vu, but I couldn't remember. Was my memory always this bad? I was pretty good at memorization. I always got good grades on my tests. I was pretty smart. So why couldn't I remember something so important? At least it felt important. Where had I seen them? If I looked at them closer, maybe I could remember. I wasn't sure what would happen if I did remember, but to escape from the awful feeling of not knowing, I almost unconsciously reached out my hand toward the 3 straps. No. Yuwa suddenly knocked my hand away. Huh? Huh? Oh. Huh? As I stared in shock, she looked away from me and awkwardly tried to stand up from the bench. Her hand brushed against her bag, the bag with the 3 Garo Froggy straps. And as if I was watching in slow motion, the bag fell slowly from the bench and landed on the ground. Oh. It hadn't been zipped up, so her notes and textbooks went spilling everywhere. Wee. Oh, we're already in chapter 2. Let's go. Oh boy. Let's see. Ah, yes. Looked at me. This should be it. So positive. The first doctor to look at me was an old man who was supposedly an authority in his field, but only talked to me the first few times before handing me off to his students. Oh boy, first positive delusion for us. It wasn't long at all before I was called into the exam room. I thought I'd be asked to wait longer, but that wasn't the case at all. What about all those people in the lobby? Maybe they were all fakes, put there by the hospital to make it look busy. It was a different exam room than the one I'd been seen in 4 years ago, but I recognized how he welcomed me when I came in.
Hello,
Hello, Nishijo. He stood up with a friendly smile and offered me a hand. I realized he wanted a handshake and hurriedly shook it back. I'm happy to see you again. No, maybe happy isn't the right word. From your perspective, I'm sure it was hard to come back. It had been 4 years, but the doctor was still really friendly. I've been feeling a little nervous, but I quickly calmed down. So, what brings you here today? He motioned for me to sit down, and I did. Maybe I felt a little too at ease, because I told him everything that had happened, and everything that might have happened. I wasn't used to talking to people, so I kept tripping over my own words, but he never pushed me. He just nodded and listened. Of course, I told him about Yua and the demon girl. Everything. And well, blah blah. It occurred to me that might be dangerous, but he was the only one I could rely on right now. Let me start by giving you my diagnosis. Oh boy! After I finished, he thought for a while before opening his mouth. You're completely normal. Yeah, that's the lead diagnosis. There's nothing wrong with you. Uh-huh. It really? Of course. Those are the words I wanted to hear more than anything, which is why it's a positive delusion. I come all the way to this hospital just to hear them. I've been terrified he was going to say there was something wrong with me, but now I was glad I'd come. If anything, this young Kusunoki lady is the one who has something wrong with her. It's difficult to make a diagnosis just from what you've told me. She's likely suffering from some kind of mental disorder. I mean, she is, but not because of anything Takumi told you. There's a chance she may try to harm you at some point in the future. We should call the police immediately. Huh? The police. Yeah, that might be the safest option. There was something wrong with you. She was crazy. Just the thought of her coming after me again was enough to make me shiver. Of course, you can count on me to keep you safe. He gazed firmly at me, gave me a friendly pat on the shoulder, and then he even gave me his business card. It had his cell phone number on it. If something happens, call me, no matter what the time. I'll be there for you, 24 hours a day. Really? Of course. I'm your primary care physician. I was almost ready to cry. I was so happy he was my doctor. There aren't many like him these days. We should probably call them about that demon girl too. The woman you saw was clearly the new Gen Killer. Your testimony will be incredibly valuable. I was getting a little excited, but he wasn't letting it show in his voice. His tone was as calm as ever. Thanks to you, the case is solved. You're the hero, Shibuya. I'm truly honored to have been here for this moment. I was a hero? This was an ESO. A person like me couldn't be a hero. But just imagining it made me grin. All the middle school girls and high school girls and college girls and office ladies in Shibuya, all screaming my name. I would be a celebrity. I could be on TV. I didn't like being in front of people, so I would start a venture company instead. then. I'd make a ton of money as a famous CEO. I'd have a bunch of pretty girls as secretaries in my own personal harem. Of course, they'd all be totally in love with me. I'd have a high-rise combo in Roppongi, and lots of cute maids at my service, like my own personal maid cafe. And of course, they'd be willing to serve me at night, too. Just kidding, just kidding.
まさに
Hey,
勝
what's
ち
up with the
組
world? Suddenly, I realized I was still sitting on the sofa in the lobby. I started looking around the room, unsure of what just happened. There was an old hunched-up woman sitting next to me. Her eyes were buried so dark in her wrinkles that I couldn't tell if she was awake or not. I looked up at the clock above the reception counter and saw that I'd been in the lobby for over an hour. Was that just a dream? Had I fallen asleep while I was waiting since I hadn't slept at all last night? If only it had been real. I felt so disappointed. Oh boy. And then, I waited another 2 hours before they finally called my name. When I went into the exam room, it was the same as I'd seen in my dream. I thought for a minute, I was back in the dream again. Dr. Takashino looked just like he had in my dream too. Maybe he just hadn't changed much over the past 4 years. But he didn't stand up and didn't ask to shake my hand.
今日はどうしました
What brings you here today? He didn't seem happy to see me again, like in my dream.
えあ no,
Name,
西条です
Nishijo.
ん
Hmm?
お
Oh,
これは
nice to
ご
meet
丁寧
you.
に高階です
My name is Dr.
はじめ
Takashino.
まして
Let's get started. Oh boy.
タッキー外出嫌いなのに
Well,
病院来
Taki,
るなん
you
て
hate going outside, but you still came to a hospital. Amazing.
私前から思ってた
You
んだ
know,
けどさ
I always
タッ
thought
キーって
you were
実はすご
a
く強い
really
男の
strong
子だよ
boy.
ね
It's not my delusion. She was happily bouncing up and down. Next, she whispered to me in a sweet voice.
私そんな
I love
タ
how
ッキーの
strong you
強
are,
さが
Taki.
それにタッキーは無遊病なんかじゃないよ
You don't sleepwalk, by the way. Yeah.
西条さん
Nishijo,
起きてください
get up.
時間ですよ
It's time. Sayatan softly put a hand on my chest and gently shook me awake. I always dreamed this day would come. The day when Sayatan and I would live together. Every day, she'd wake me up wearing nothing but an apron. Then she'd give me a good morning kiss.
西条さん
Nishijo? Sorry, I just had a thought because I saw the notification that I got an achievement for making Hazuki wear glasses. And I think that has to do with the choices we made at the beginning, because we were saying yes to everything, which included liking glasses. And knowing that Hazuki is grim and was part of that conversation. I slowly opened my eyes. Yeah, Hazuki's wearing glasses. And I'm pretty sure it's because we picked, yes, I like glasses. Because that didn't happen last time, and I'm pretty sure I said no last time. Fucker. Absolute fucker. Somebody was looking down at me. Her eyes locked onto each other. It was the nurse, Hazuki. Understandable. Have a nice day. I quickly looked around. I was still in a hospital bed. I guess the part where Seira-tan was talking to me was just a dream.
おはようございます
Good morning.
結局3
He
時間
slept
ぐ
for
っすり
3
でした
whole
ね
hours. It's been 3 hours already. I felt like it had only been 5 minutes. As I rubbed my eyes, Hazuki glanced at me. She was covering her hand with her mouth, seemingly on the verge of busting out laughing.
セイラさんって
Is Seira your
彼女さ
girlfriend?
ん
What?
ずっと寝言でつ
He
ぶや
kept
いていま
whispering
した
her
か
name
ら
while you were asleep. I could feel the blood draining from my face. I screwed up big time. I let a normal person hear me talking in my sleep. Sure, normal person. Yeah. Uh-huh. I've been saying Seijitan's name of all things. Time to go kill myself. But there was no sign of sleepwalking. I could tell you that. She spoke. She opened the curtains. Let's go! Oh, I want to save. Hang on. So that we can come back to this real fast easily. Because there's an achievement where we answer none of them. But then there's also an achievement for answering all of them. So... But I want to read over the questions again first because I don't remember what they were. When you need to talk to someone, do you prefer to text instead of call? Do you sometimes have tinnitus? Have you ever felt someone's eyes on you and turned around? Do stationary objects sometimes seem to be moving toward you? Have you ever had a premonition that turned out to be right? Have you ever checked a digital clock and seen the same numbers repeat? Have you cried within the last month? Can you masturbate just using your imagination? Can you stay focused on just one mental image while masturbating? Can you fantasize about something with your eyes open? Does the front of an automobile ever look like a face? Do you have difficulty going to the bathroom after watching a horror movie? Not a fan of haunted houses? When you start reading a book, do you lose track of time and immerse yourself? Do you think aliens are real? When you look at your horoscope, is it always right? Do you get motion sickness easily? Do you think God exists? Do you have a sixth sense? When you sleep, do you dream in full color? When you are asleep, do you ever understand that you are dreaming? Have you ever experienced partial memory loss? Do you have trouble making eye contact with others? Does the sight of a lemon make your mouth full of saliva? When other people yawn, do you yawn too? Since I didn't get the achievement right away, it might be later. Oh, by the time you get to the results, probably. So, I'll ignore the save that I made there. But the next go around, I'll answer none of them. Yeah. I miss me. Here we go. Looked right at me. Oh, is this the one? Oh, maybe this is the one that we're supposed to have, the positive. Well, I'll have another positive reaction just to be sure. Delusion, rather, not reaction. Yeah, that makes more sense. Looked right at me. Looked at me. Okay. Whatever. Without taking her eyes off me, she walked right off the stage. The members of Phantasm began to play again. But she wasn't singing. She slowly worked her way through the crowd. She threw off her jacket in a languid motion, exposing her sexy shoulders. The fans began to get excited again. They raised their fists and jumped in the air. The vibrations were shaking the floor like an earthquake. But nobody tried to touch her. She seemed almost sacred to them. You'd think if someone with her charisma came down into the audience, people would be jumping all over her. But some kind of unspoken understanding kept her believers from touching her. Even so, feeling her so close, smelling the scent of her sweat, touching the same air as her. These were the greatest joys her followers could ask for. Maybe this is some kind of performance she did at every concert, I thought. But then I was shocked at what she did next. She began to casually take off her belt. She tossed it into the crowd, and all her followers scrambled to grab it for themselves. Fess gave them a contemptuous glance, and then she lowered the zipper on her miniskirt. Oh boy. It fell to the ground. revealing sexy black underwear. What happened to her top? Fess didn't seem to mind exposing herself to her followers at all. Maybe she was high on the excitement. Maybe it was just part of the performance. Maybe she was just an exhibitionist. I didn't know, but she was so sexy I couldn't take my eyes off her. Fess looked back at me. She gave a seductive smile. Hey, she's coming this way. Her gaze was locked on me. She got closer and closer, as if homing in on a target. Oh, she got right in front of me. Oh boy. She exhaled, her breath soft and sweet like a lover, and embraced me. Her skin was slick with sweat. The smell and the warmth made me dizzy. She pressed her chest against me. It heaved up and down rapidly with each breath. They say that singing takes a lot of energy, but I could feel her hot, panting breath directly through my skin. Her arms were wrapped tightly around my back. Her nails dug into my neck. Her thighs clung to my legs. My body felt like it had been hit by lightning. I couldn't push her off or even return her embrace. All I could do was stand there, blinking in confusion. Her followers started to cheer once again. It was almost like a scream. The band's performance became louder and more violent. The cries of "Fess! Fess!" filled the hall, and then they started to mix with cries of "Do it! Do it!" Do what? I didn't understand. Fess was silently holding on to me. I looked over at Missy for help. He was exchanging a deep kiss with a female audience member. No, it wasn't just Missy. The other followers, male and female, had all cast off their clothes and were embracing each other. Some were kissing, and some were even starting to have sex. It quickly turned into a loud screaming orgy. There were moans, cheers, and the indecent sound of flesh rubbing flesh, all of it accompanied by the playing of the Phantasm band. Well then, the Black Mass. I finally understood. Fess was a witch, and this was her obscene Sabbath. And I'd been chosen to be the night's sacrifice. I would be Fess's partner. Did this happen in every Phantasm concert? I started to get caught up in it too. It was like a thin veil of fog was covering my mind. A sense of fear and anticipation of what was to come. A sense of ecstasy and superiority at being chosen as her partner. I thought I'd go crazy. She laughed again, right up against my ear. Even amid the flood of sound, I could still hear it clearly. It was such a sexy sound. Just hearing it felt like enough to make me pass out. Fess was inviting me to experience an even greater pleasure. She softly put my ear, and then blew a hot breath into it, and then she whispered,
その目誰の目
"Whose eyes are those?" No, he teleported his room.
フェスエロいよフェス
Fess, you're so sexy, Fess. I was sitting in front of my computer enjoying my delusions. The concert I'd gone to today was a good change of pace. Fess was pretty cute for a 3D girl. Having so many people around triggered my agoraphobia hard, though. I definitely wasn't going to go back. In the end, I got sick from being around the crowd and fled the concert hall. Yeah, that sounds about right. Agoraphobia, fear of open spaces or crowds. Many hikikomori, or semi-hikikomori, like Takumi, suffer from this disorder. Oh, exam results, let's go. Yay! We got the delusion synchro rate 100% because we answered yes to everything. Let's go. Your delusion level is extremely high. In fact, without delusions, you probably could not survive. We can assume that not only are you in love with a 2D character, you have actually thought about how nice it would be if you could go inside your monitor. The real world will never satisfy you. It is too late. There's no need to feel guilty about this at all, however. Dedicate yourself to your delusions and live inside your imagination. No matter what others may think, as long as you're happy, that's enough. Focus on living a healthy lifestyle, avoiding illness and eating good food. Forget about the pain of reality and focus on a sweet, happy, delusional life. Your delusions will never betray you. Takumi's comment. Did you know? If you stay a virgin until you're 30, you can become a wizard. That's because the 3D world is dirty and filled with trash. Everybody knows that imaginary girlfriends are the best girlfriends. We only have the one. Damn. I wanted to check back the other result that we got before, because I couldn't remember if there was a Takumi comment. Interesting. Today's Delusion was a good one. Maybe Fest and Phantasm really were doing that stuff at their concerts. Maybe today they just didn't for some reason. Anyway, time for some ESO.
ねえ、
Hey,
ナイトハルト。
Nightheart. I'm always watching
僕
you.
はいつでもお前を見てるんだぞ。
Yeah. Another positive one. Let's go.
お前はそれに気づいてるの？
And then. Let's go to the 2D world. I hadn't typed anything into the keyboard, but Nightheart was talking. I thought it was hallucinating and rubbed my eyes, but the text remained on the chat window. The 2D world? You could be a hero too.
それっ
Let's
て
fight side by side.
僕に
Are
言ってる
you
の？
talking to me? You're not interested in anything 3D, right? Hey.
いや、そうだけど。
Yeah, but... If Nightheart was talking to me, the person inside him, the player, did that mean he had a will of his own? Touch your monitor, and then you can come to Base Lord, as Takumi Nishijo. The password is... Whose eyes are those?
だが断る。
But I refuse.
二次元世界に
If
行
I'm
くなら
going to go
せっ
to a
かくだから
2D
僕
world,
はエロゲ
I'd
の世
rather
界
it
を
be
選
an
ぶぜ。
H game.
バゼラードはお前に
I'll
任せる
leave
よ。
Base Lord to you,
Nightheart.
Nightheart. I answered, then powered off my computer. Fair enough, I guess. I'm not missing any messages from you guys, right? I hope not. Like, I don't mind you guys being quiet, but I just want to make sure I'm not missing messages, because that happened before. And then she really swung it. Okay, according to OBS, it doesn't seem like I've missed any messages from you guys. Yeah. Okay, the way the music started up got cut off by a meaty thwack, then started up again. Yeah. Yeah. Girl B was looking down at me coldly. There was something wrong with her, the way she was swinging around a sword in this crowd. Was she a serial killer? Maybe she was the new gen killer. Or working with a demon girl? Look at me more. It feels like something that I should say no to, but like really for all the route prompts I need to say yes, so yes. For her, I wouldn't mind begging on my knees. Sure. I wish she'd step on me, actually. Uh-huh. That sword's going to run me through, isn't it? I can tell. Yep. She's going to kill me with that sword. She definitely tried.
助けて。
Please don't hurt me.
殺さないで。
Don't kill me. I was shaking. I was about to piss my pants with fear. Good.
何を勘違いしてい
What's
る
gotten into you?
私はただ
I just asked
見
if
える
you
のか
could
と聞い
see
ている
it.
だけだ
What was she talking about? If I couldn't see it, would she kill me? I couldn't answer if she wouldn't tell me what I was supposed to be seeing.
少し落ち着け
Calm down a little.
もう一度聞くぞ
I'll ask again.
この剣
This sword.
ディ
The
ソ
D
ードが
sword.
見えるの
Can you see it?
え
Huh? D-sword? I never heard that word before. She had to be talking about that sword she was holding. In twisting. Honk. Loop. I looked away, of course, so my gaze only met hers for a second.
見つけて
Find
早
it.
く
Quickly.
剣を
The sword. Fess suddenly spoke. Her words were cold and soft. I couldn't tell if they were directed to me or Misumi.
剣
And the sword?
そうすれば
Find it.
君は救わ
And
れ
you'll
る
be saved. Fess looked down without waiting for an answer and began to walk once more. She went past us and into Class D's classroom. With me, Misumi watched her go, confused.
な
Hey,
タク
Taku. I could tell he was in a bad mood. Despite all his best efforts, Fess had completely ignored him. Having someone refuse to even acknowledge you exist must be pretty painful. I was used to that, though.
俺は
I've
ここ
never
まで
had
プラ
my
イドを
pride
ズタ
just
ズタにされ
destroyed
たのは
like that.
初めてだ自信なくさ
You're
せ
ruining my self-confidence, damn it.
ちょっと有名人
She
だから
thinks she's
って調子
special
乗
just
りやがっ
because
て
she's a little famous.
あんな不愛想な
Man,
女
I'm
も
never
う二度と
talking
相
to
手
a
にし
nice
てやるもん
bitch
か
like
よ
that again. So he says.
ああうぜえ
What a pain.
大体何
What
が
the
剣
hell
の
did
見つ
she
けろだ
mean anyway?
わけわかん
Mind
ね
the sword. The sword. Did she mean that thing at the concert? The one that looked like a mic stand? Come to think of it, just 2 days ago, someone else had asked me about a sword. Shogun, the demon girl, Yua, Vess, Senna. She was a cunt. Damn it, not now. It's okay, we'll go to neutral. SpongeBob? Oh, you're making a joke. There's no answer. Of course there wasn't. It'd be scary if there was one.
え
Huh? I heard a noise. I turned around to look before I realized what I was doing. I lost today's don't turn around game. There's nobody in my room. Was I hearing things? I hope so, I told myself. Again. I heard the sound again. I couldn't lie to myself anymore. It was the sound of somebody knocking on the door. Which meant someone was here. Nobody ever came here. Even the people selling newspapers wouldn't come all the way up here. Who could it be? The delivery guy? No, I wasn't getting any packages today. Nanami? No, Nanami would pound louder and harder, and then she'd scream, "Brother, open up!" I'd recognize it if it were her. Yua? That was likely. She'd been here once before. The demon girl sent her here to kill me. But if so, why would she go through the trouble of knocking? The knocking sound kept coming. I froze, trying to figure out what to do. But no good ideas came to me. I just kept getting more and more scared. I know, I could just pretend to not be here. Or is that just being paranoid? But I should be careful, right? Shibuya has been really dangerous lately. And if it was Yua, I couldn't let her in. I'd basically be asking her for her to kill me. Wait, did I lock the door? I looked over to see. It was too dark to tell if the door was locked, however. I softly stood up, walking over to the door while being as careful as possible not to make any noise. Oh. By the time I made it to the middle of the room, I was finally able to tell for sure. The door wasn't locked. A cold chill ran down my entire body. My heart beat faster from nervousness. Right now, anybody could just walk right in and kill me. I needed to hurry and lock the door. If I made any kind of noise, it would be obvious I was here, but it'd be better than letting someone inside. I ran over to the door. Oof. I stepped on the container of a convenience store dinner I'd bought. I slipped and fell right on my butt. Rip. I moaned from the intense pain. And then, the door slowly began to open right before my eyes. I didn't know who it was. Whoever been knocking was just now opening the door. I tried to force myself to stand up, but my body refused to move from the pain. All I could do was watch it open as tears ran down my face. First, I saw the hand. The sleeve was the Suime Academy uniform. I could tell that much. Dex save 1. Yeah, so true. Then the hair. It was a little longer than Nanami's, but it was shorter than Yua's. I didn't know who it belonged to. Mimi? And then I saw the face, peeking out from the other side of the door. Mimi!
こんにちは。
Hello. And then I knew who it was. Someone unexpected. The worst possible someone. My vision threatened to go black from sheer despair. It was the teammate girl. It was the teammate girl.
いた
Oh, there you are. Her eyes met. She suddenly smiled happily. Her smile made me shiver.
もう
Why
どうして
didn't
す
you
ぐ返事してく
answer
れない
me?
の
Oh no. Oh no, oh no. Her other hand was still behind the door. She must be holding one of those cross-shaped stakes in it. She was here to kill me at last. She was smiling with joy at the thought of killing me. It was because I talked to those cops. She used her clairvoyant powers to see me doing it remotely. Don't kill me, I tried to scream, but I was too scared to get the words out. Understandable.
コロッケ
Da 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 da. She stared at me, tilting her head, and recited a strange spell. She must be speaking the demon language. She's going to curse me. I feel like this is not new content, right? But it's insistent. I crawled away, trying to get as much distance between me and her as possible. My hands kept slipping on the garbage as I crawled, but I managed to make it to the far end of the room, hide under my computer desk.
ねえ
Hey,
入っていいかな
can I come in?
っていうか
Actually, I'm gonna come in no matter what you say. The demon girl came inside. She even took her shoes off.
お邪魔しちゃった
Okay, I'm inside.
あ
Oh,
散らかってても
I don't
私
mind the
平気だから
mess. Don't
気に
worry.
しないでね
The door shut, and Heather was nowhere to run. But surprisingly, the only thing she was carrying was her bag. I didn't see any kind of weapon. Pet streaming, pet streaming, pet streaming. Yeah? Hello, welcome on in, Peachy. No, it had to be in that bag. I'm gonna let my guard down. The second I let my guard down, she would come for me. Maybe that spell a second ago had cursed me. In a few days, my body might start spouting blood from all its pores, and then I die.
頼むよ
Please. Have a good BRB.
殺さないで
Don't kill me. I curled up into a little ball on the floor, cursing the detectives I met earlier. I'm sorry
警察
that
に
I
喋った
told
こ
the
と
police.
謝るから
警察
The police?
それに
And
話しても
I don't think they
質問
actually
しても
believed
もらえ
anything
なか
I
ったし
said. It was just a lie I'd said to buy time. The detectives had said they protected me. If the older guy was doing his job right, he could surely send an officer to protect me. Then I realized. I told the officer my phone number, but I hadn't given him my address.
石
Snap! Huh? She suddenly struck a pose, like she was at attention.
独り言はやめる
You're
ね
talking to yourself.
殺さないでとか
Kill you?
警
Police?
察がどうとか
I don't know what
私
you're
には
going
何
to
のこと
on
かさっぱり
about.
だよ
She didn't know. Was this some kind of joke? Or was this her way of telling me to forget that anything had ever happened? What was this girl thinking? Hadn't she come here to kill me?
ほら立てる
Come on, can you stand up? Give it a try. The demon walked over to me and offered a hand. Her expression looked so kind, and up close, I could tell that she was pretty cute. What had gotten into me? She was a demon. She wasn't pretty cute. She was a murderer. She used Yuha and Shogun to try and set me up. Now she was here to kill me herself. I couldn't let myself believe her. I learned my lesson with Yua. I'd never make the same mistake again. I didn't take the hand she offered me. I couldn't let her smile fool me. It was a demonic temptation. If I gave into it, I'd die. Don't believe in anything. Don't listen to anything anyone says.
だ
But I
見たんだ
saw you.
お前が
I saw you killing
殺してる
someone.
とこ
あのさ
Taku,
タク
do you realize that you're
それ
saying something pretty
かなり
mean?
ひどいこと言ってるって
I feel like we've definitely
まさか
seen this
殺人
before,
犯呼ばわ
haven't
りされ
we?
るなんてねははは
Hahaha. But it's not skipping. We definitely did, yeah. What's he doing here?
ユア将軍誰それじゃあね私を殺人犯扱いしなければ助けてあげるってそんなビビらないでよいちいち私がへこむようなリアクションもしも当然でしょタクって結構独り言多いよねタクの名前を知らないわけないよ私物覚えはそんなによく友達なのそれと
Why
も
isn't
タ
this
ク
skipping?
面と向かってそういうもしもし
Man, where it's like I'm accidentally stopping it, it just feels like she's actually talking to us directly, and that's a little unnerving.
その顔はまさ
Don't tell
か
me you still don't believe
ま
me.
だ信じてくれてない
誰だ
Who are you? She was a murderer, the demon girl. Well,
タクこそ
you don't
ク
even
ラスメ
remember
ート
the
の顔
face of your
覚え
own
てないじゃん
classmate? That's really mean.
だからって私の存じゃあ崎畑リミリアクションなしかい
But you're not even reacting? I'm sorry, I'm skipping. I just...
たく記憶力ゼロまあいいや
Taku, does your memory just not work at all? Well, whatever. Head pats, let's go. Thank you for the head pats. Much appreciate. Blah, blah, blah. Head pats. Yay. Oops. Went back to VTube Studio rather than the game.
じゃあ大臣に聞い
That's
てみて
19.
もしかして
Hello?
あ
Oh. Someone answered. The person on the phone didn't give their name. They must have been outside somewhere downtown, because I could hear the hustle and bustle of the crowd around them.
たく大臣出た
西
Is it like not skipping because it's important?
俺はともかくお前は1年の時から
Hmm.
体辛いならソファーで横になる
ここにいる
タクは全然出てきてくれないし今度
Turn it off and on again, maybe?
は何
There we go.
見つけて早く
Find it. Quickly.
剣を
The sword.
そうすれば
Find it.
君は
And you'll
救
be
われる
saved. Suddenly, I remember those words. That was weird.
早く
Find it. Quickly.
剣を
The sword.
そうすれば
Find it.
君は救われる
And you'll be saved. Hmm. Oh boy. Are we still in chapter 2? Let's save and find out. No, we're in chapter 3 now. Okay. I don't know when chapter 3 started. Well, hopefully we're fine. Thanksgiving Day is indeed getting closer. Yes. Sure enough, there was a girl there. She was really tiny. She might have been even smaller than Nanami. And the class started to murmur louder as it became clear that the transfer student wasn't going to say a word. The teacher gave her a reassuring pat on the shoulder.
It
seems like Orihara's a little nervous. Alright, you can skip the introductions. Everyone, this is Kozue Orihara. Make her feel welcome. Orihara, your seat's in the far back row. You can sit down. The transfer student bowed, silently, and started to walk toward me. Her seat would be 4 rows behind me. I thought about pretending to follow her with my eyes as she walked, so I could look back and see who was there. But if I did, I'd stand out a lot. Some doku might see me and say, "Don't stare at the transfer student just because she's cute," and then they try to beat me up. What should I do? Turn around or wait until homeroom ended? My head dropped as I squeezed my fist tightly. It was no good. I didn't have the courage. If I turned around and saw the girl. This person is like me. Oh, that's new. I could hear her speak. The transfer student passed by me. Or is that not new? It might not be new, but I didn't process what was happening until now. You really hope you get a day off or 2 from work because of Thanksgiving, or get double pay if you work the day. Yeah, I hope so too, man. Next thing I knew, I was looking up. Yeah, no, she definitely didn't have a D sword at this point last time. The transfer student stopped for just a single moment as she walked by my desk. She didn't look toward me. She was holding what looked like a giant iron plate. Huh? I blinked and it was gone. What was that? Was I seeing things? I'm glad we're in the same class. She quickly passed by my desk. Was she talking to me? Why was she suddenly talking to me? Like me? I'm glad we're in the same class. Had we even met before? No, I didn't remember her face at all. There's nothing in my past involving a long-forgotten childhood friend, either. Nothing out of an H game. He was finally starting to get popular? No. Or was a transfer student with the demon girl. If so, the net was closing in even tighter. It would get even harder and harder to run away. I mean... There are only 5 calls there. And we're supposed to have a negative delusion to this one. Man, does that... We were supposed to have a positive delusion to damn it, this was not the time, but I don't remember when that was. Fuck. It's okay, there is a lot of room for error. We only need to see 10 out of 18 of these, but fuck. Nobody came out from the back. I looked around. Still, nobody came out from the back. I took out my wallet and checked how much change I had on me. Nevertheless, nobody came out from the back. I picked up the box meal and gave a little noise with it before placing it back down. But nobody came from the back. I didn't have the courage to say anything, even though there was nobody here. Even so, nobody came out from the back. I thought about trying to leave without paying, but I decided I couldn't take any risk that might end up with me getting arrested. Regardless, nobody came out from the back. The cashier must have just been taking the garbage out. Again, nobody came out from the back. Or maybe they're taking inventory or something. And yet, nobody came out from the back. Hi, Shogun. Hi, Shogun. Hi, Dimi. Chapter 4, okay. I saw that. My body froze. What should I say? Some kind of normal greeting. But I never said hello to anybody, which meant if I started here, it would seem really unnatural. Talk about the transfer student, but I never gossiped with Mimi at all. So if I started now, it would seem really unnatural. Thank her for the other day. No. Should I apologize for being mean even after she saved me? Ask her what she was doing there? Or ask her if she held me close because she liked me? Or maybe ask her what she was doing at the scene of Crucified. No, no way. None of those were things I could just bring up in casual conversation. Fair. Damn it. What was I supposed to do? Struggle. The silence was making the pressure worse and worse. I need to say something. It would be even more awkward for me to sit there in silence. I knew both these things were true, but the words just didn't come. I hated dealing with the 3D world so much. How can anybody deal with this place? If just trying to talk made you feel like you were choking. You need to get home and have Sayata-tan make me feel better.
ねえタク
Hey, Taku. Yumi finally spoke. My body shivered. I still couldn't look up.
その
Were
一
you
昨日は
okay after that?
あの後
The
大
other
丈夫
day,
だった
I mean. Yumi's voice dropped low. I felt like I could feel her breath faintly tickling my ear. I looked up to see her face was close, and she was whispering to me. Her body was close to mine. Her soft, warm body that held me so close in the middle of the road. The sensation of her body filled my mind, and I couldn't think about anything else.
無事に帰れた
I
か
was
な
pretty worried about whether you'd get home safely or not. I nodded forcefully, several times.
そっか
Okay,
よかった
good.
もう
Don't do
あんな危ない
anything
こと
that
しちゃダメ
dangerous
だぞ
again, okay? And that was all she said before she turned to go away. Suddenly, I wanted to ask her. She'd said whatever I'd done was dangerous. What did she think I had been doing? Neutral. Suddenly, I stopped. There was a note of command in her voice. It was like this Chan car was in her personal possession. Of course, I didn't have any intention of going inside. I didn't know who this girl was, and I could barely talk to 3D girls anyway. I didn't want to get involved.
入れと言っている
I said, come in. Sana's voice was commanding and brooked no dissent. Brooked. She wasn't moving, but if I made the slightest move to run, there's no telling what she'd do. She might be a really high-level Dokyun, the kind who wouldn't think twice about getting violent with a man. I was scared. But if I was obedient, it might just make things even worse. I had to deal with Dokyuns a few times in my life. The best thing to do was always to run. Whether you did what they said or not, something awful always ended up happening to you, so the best thing to do was to run. I need to find a way to get out of here. Suddenly, something pushed me forward. I was caught off guard and lost my balance, falling forward like an idiot into the train. Shocked, I turned toward the entrance to see who'd pushed me. There were a lot of people outside, but I couldn't tell which one of them had done it. Maybe they'd already run away. Why did they push me, though? You would do something so mean. I'd hit my knee when I'd fallen, and it hurt a little. I slowly staggered to my feet, being careful not to look Senna in the eye. Actually, how come none of these people actually tried to come inside the train? Interesting, interesting. Here we go. The booth was tiny. Yellow blocked the only exit. What do I do? What should I do? I tried desperately to come up with a way to escape from this situation, but it didn't work. I couldn't think clearly. I've been caught totally off guard. My mind was going blank. I went to your home yesterday, but you weren't there, were you? I waited until late at night, but you never came home. No. I can understand why you want to avoid me. I know I lied to you. Just leave me alone. I had nothing to say to one of Shogun's servants, particularly the sort of awful person who tried to trick and trap someone as helpless as me. Yuba cast her gaze down for a moment, as if hesitating, and then she whispered, "Whose eyes are those?" You know that phrase, right? I won't let you say you don't. The dying message in the vampire incident. It became a famous catchphrase in Shibuya after the internet found out about it. But I knew that phrase before the murder. Because I'd seen somebody using it before Vampire. Shogun. I showed you before, didn't I? Shogun's conversation with Nightheart. That is, you. Shogun had said it. Whose eyes are those? It was in the log. And she got closer. Her voice was calm and peaceful, but there was a piercing cold light in her eyes. She was staring at me, unblinking. I looked away. Shogun is you. I mean, yeah, but not the way you think. Which means what? Please, Nichijo. Spoilers, you, what? Jeez. Maybe I wasn't sleepwalking. Maybe the person controlling me who wasn't me. Another personality who wasn't me. The police. Yeah, okay, something that's not really helpful is that, like, the way that they mark some of these, I think it's based off of, like, their translation patch. Like, so it makes me a little unsure if I actually am at the right, like, delusion. But that's okay. The police. Negative. Maybe they were all detectives? She was tall and sexy, like a model. All the guys probably liked her. Huh? New Gen. Another crazy chick. Find it, and you'll be saved. And if I was going to save myself from them, the sword was the one that Fess was waving around during her concert. There wasn't a single straight edge on the whole thing. Beautiful. Fess was standing there, wearing a school uniform. Huh? What? Huh? Fess was beside me, and Fess was standing in front of the stairs. There were two of the same person in the same place. Shocked, I looked back and forth from one to the other. Their face, build, hair, everything was the exact same. The only difference was their clothes and whether they were holding a sword or not. They weren't twins or anything like that. They didn't just look alike. They were exactly the same. This is also your delusion. Why is that Fess's legs cut off? Anyways. The two Fesses said the same thing at the same time. My head was starting to hurt. What was happening right in front of my eyes? Good question, buddy. Do you know why so many young kids are drawn to Shibuya? Fess began to talk about something completely different. There aren't many places in Japan, no, in the whole world, like this. Did that have something to do with the D-sword? Not, I didn't care. I needed Fess to tell me how to get a real D-sword. Not Shinjuku, or Ikebukuro. Shibuya. In Shibuya, that's so famous. The two Fesses were speaking to me simultaneously, one in front of me and one in back. They were in perfect sync. It felt kinda strange. Maybe Fess had split? Maybe one of them was real and the other wasn't? Or maybe both were fake. Shibuya is the city of youth. Every Japanese person knows that. Why is that? Why? Well, I didn't care. Because it's a city of fashion? Because there's so many stores? Because so many trends start here? Because it's on TV a lot? Because it's easy to get to? No. None of those reasons are correct. The two Fesses paused for a moment. It felt awkward, with the Fess watching me both in the front and the back. The Great Will. The will of a higher dimensional being. Or put more simply, God. Oh no, could this be? Was it being recruited for some kind of weird cult? I started to panic. I wasn't sure if I should run. But when she said her next words, that ceased to be an option. The D-swords, an expression of the Great Will's guidance. I feel like none of that was necessarily new, but because it wasn't her swimsuit, that might have been why. Or maybe it was different enough. Oh. Shut up. Don't treat me like I'm the killer. Chapter 5 now, let's go. Speed run. For example. Positive. I left the classroom and raced to the front entrance of the school. But of course, I didn't forget to walk along the side of the hallways with my head down. Of course. The bell had rung a little while ago, so the only kids left were the ones on cleaning duty, or in clubs and on sports teams. There was something slightly lonely and nostalgic about a school after the last bell rang. It didn't matter if it was an old wooden school, or a newer one like Suime Academy. Not that I've ever been to an old wooden school outside of an H game. As I lost myself in thoughts of H games with wooden school buildings, I could see a strange silhouette at the end of the hallway. It was a girl, slowly walking with two big cardboard boxes in her hands. They were so big I couldn't see her face, She probably couldn't see in front of her either. It was incredibly dangerous. In an H game, this would be my cue to run into her and start her route. I thought about doing it, but I didn't actually try. If anything, I was really cautious around her. There was a decent chance she was one of Shogun's assassins. I had to stay away from her. I had to be careful. I watched her feet closely. She was getting closer, staggering to the right, and then staggering to the left. I was walking on the left side of the hallway. When she headed toward the right, I picked up my pace. I managed to get past her without problems. But then, when I heard something fall and looked down, I saw a student notebook. I stopped.
Huh?
How the cardboard box girl dropped it? I stared at it, trying to think. My first instinct was to be suspicious. Why had she dropped her notebook just now? The timing was too obvious. It was like she was trying to make me pick it up. Could it be a trap? Had she dropped it deliberately? She was holding the boxes with both hands. She didn't have a hand free to do anything. If her notebook had been in her skirt pocket, it would be impossible for her to take it out and drop it on the floor deliberately. But I hadn't seen where it come from. Maybe the cardboard box girl had it in her hand the whole time, and was using the boxes to hide it. I couldn't be sure. Maybe it wasn't deliberate. Most people would assume it was just a coincidence. I watched the cardboard box girl to see what she'd do. Or tried, rather.
Huh?
No. Just then, she rounded a corner. I'd only seen her from far behind for an instant. Wasn't anybody I knew, probably. Her hair seemed short, maybe. No, it also seemed long. Mimi? I couldn't be sure. And of course, I hadn't seen her face. It had been hidden by the boxes when we passed each other. The hallway was empty, except for me and the student notebook. The only thing to do would be to pick it up and take it to the teacher's office, or run after the cardboard box girl and bring it to her, but I was hesitant to do that. I looked around. There weren't any other students nearby. I could hear a group of girls laughing in the distance, but that was all. I was hard to believe this could be a trap. The person who owned it was already gone. What could they do to me? There was a miniature bomb. Was there a miniature bomb attached to it? No, that was ridiculous. So, even if I picked up the notebook, nothing bad would happen to me. That's right. Yeah, that had to be right. Just in case, I should check who the girl was. She might be working with Shogun after all. I could check her class, her photo, and her name, and then put it right back on the ground. I certainly wasn't going to waste my time going to find her. After taking several glances around to make sure nobody was nearby, I picked it up and flipped to the first page. His eyes are those. I quickly threw the notebook to the floor. What the hell was that? I had this awful creepy feeling in the pit of my stomach. It wasn't scary as much as it was sickening. Somebody had set this whole thing up to get at me. Who would do this? It had to be that girl. What was that noise? Takumi making a sound. She was working with Shogun after all. I knew it. I'd only seen the inside of the notebook for a second, but its owner's name, birthday, class, everything that was supposed to be on the first page was blacked out. The photo had been ripped out too. I felt sick. I suddenly felt like throwing up. I wanted to get out of here as soon as I could. I ran for the stairs, hands over my mouth. By the time I made it to the courtyard, I couldn't hold it in anymore. Then, the second I came to my knees, the contents of my stomach came flooding up my throat. Oh boy. Put her hands on my shoulders. That's not one that matters. She seemed to be lost in thought. Does she not actually have any ideas? And I don't need anything in return. A lot of weird noises this VA has. I mean, That freaking crowd was like a mini Ensemble Stars redeem. Maybe. Visual novel. Yeah. There are a lot of weird noises. It's a psychological horror though, so... Huh?
それって
Does that mean
貸してくれないってい
you
う
won't
こ
lend it to me?
と
Rumi looked sad.
そっか
I see.
残念
That's too bad.
いや
No.
違うよ。見返りなんて
I just
必要
mean
ないってこ
I
と。
don't need anything in
普通に
return.
貸すよ
I'll。let you borrow it for free.
タク
Taku.
ありがと
Thank you. She gave me a brilliant smile. She looked so happy. I thought she might jump on me and give me a hug right there. Normally, girls were never happy about anything I did, so it made me happy too. I was glad I worked up the courage to say she could borrow it.
うビシ
Snap!
じゃあ
Okay,
見
I'll
返り
borrow
なし
without
に借
giving
り
you
ます
anything in return.
となれば全話
Let's get going then.
タクの家に
Let's head to your house. Cute. Sometimes I was surprised at how overly friendly Rimi seemed. Phew. Okay. Down in that tunnel. I'd seen her split into two. I hadn't seen the moment had happened, but when I turned around, there was another Ayase. And I'd seen her pull the D sword out from nowhere too. That wasn't a hallucination or a delusion. After seeing that, I couldn't call her crazy. But that was what she also said.
これも
This is also your delusion. So that strange thing I'd witnessed had happened because I'd seen it in my delusions.
理想度は
The D sword only reveals itself to those who have the power.
君には
You can
私の
see
剣が
my
見え
sword,
ているでしょ
right?
それが意味するのは
That can mean only one thing. Was that what Ayase had meant by power? The power to project delusions into reality. It was possible that I had had it. Oh boy. No. I was jumping to conclusions. Maybe there was a system that could use science to turn delusions into video footage, but that didn't mean psychic powers were real. I went and picked up the toy D sword in the corner of the room. I stood in the middle of the room and held it out in front of me, in the best approximation of a ESO character that I could do. Okay, time to envision a sword. Rumi was looking at me, her eyes met.
ふーん
She was gritting. I could feel my face getting warm. I picked up the sword and posed with it, forgetting that there was someone else in the room with me. In Rumi's eyes, I must look like a total weirdo, maybe. Crap. I put down the sword. I was too embarrassed to look at her. I wanted to be anywhere in the world but where I was standing right now. Or maybe I could just get her to pretend she'd never seen it. I was willing to beg if I had to. But Rumi decided just to make things worse.
ねえね
Hey, hey,
えチャンバ
while
ラ
you're
ごっこ
pretending to fight? I shook my head.
いつもそういうことし
Do
て
you
るの
always do that? Oh my god, I shook my head.
今日が初めて
Today's your first time? I nodded fiercely.
チャンバラごっこの相手
You want me
役
to be your
私が
pretend
しようか
opponent? I
よ
mean,
くわから
I
ない
guess I
けど
can. I shook my head back and forth violently. I just told her it wasn't pretend fighting.
ねえタク
Hey, Taku.
どうしてこっ
Why won't
ち
you
見てく
look
れ
at
ない
me?
のかな
Because I'm embarrassed, obviously. She'd seen something I really didn't want her to see. This must be what it felt like when a girlfriend found her boyfriend's porn.
タクってさ
Taku, you're... Oh, she disgusted by me. This is the worst. I had to find some way to help her realize it was a misunderstanding.
かわいいね
Pretty cute, aren't you? Aww. Huh?
かなりキュンときちゃった
That
な
was pretty cute.
まずは
She picked up the Serotan body pillow that was next to my computer chair and was hugging it tightly. I thought she was making fun of me. From the way she was acting, she was serious. Did that mean that Rumi had found me away for a second? I was relieved. She hadn't started hating me. Good. Amazing. I'm... Oh. If there were 2D characters, they'd be really moe. But not in 3D. What did she just say? I'm going to pick the negative delusion, even though this isn't one that really matters. Solely because I know we've done all the negative delusions, and I want to take a moment to do something. So I'll just let it run, and yeah, I will be right back. Are the delusions on a timer? Yes and no is gonna be my answer. Because after a certain amount of dialogue, you are set on whether or not you're doing the neutral, positive, or negative. So you do have like a little bit of window. But as far as like me stepping away and a delusion popping up, it's set so that the skip stops. So it's no longer skipping when it gets to a delusion. I'm supposed to react to a negative with ellipsis exclamation mark, and this is just an ellipsis. Let me double check if we're still in the same chapter, actually. Okay, yeah, we're still in chapter 5, cool. But just to be sure, because I don't think this is the one, since it's just an ellipsis and not an ellipsis exclamation mark. Just to be safe, let's do negative. Bonus points, we've already done all the negative delusions, so... Weee. Alright, the first... Well, no. I don't think it's technically this first page, but still. I quick saved. Did a new chapter start and I didn't notice? Maybe. Or... Discouraged, I hung up the phone. Okay. So yeah, the new chapter started. I'm going to assume that that was the correct thing then for the ellipsis. Okay, cool. So we're in chapter 6, which means we'll have a little more work other than getting the specific delusions. Because we have to also avoid that bad ending with the yes and no's and the D sword. Okay, if I have marked everything correctly with our progress, we've already gotten 9 out of the 10 necessary for the delusion, so if we fuck up from this point on for the delusions, we should be fine, presuming we didn't fuck up before. Yay! But hey, we're past chapter 5, so that means we're more than halfway through, and it hasn't even been 2 hours yet. That's cool. But for this one, we need to do a positive delusion with hanging up the phone disappointed. Let's go. Taku. Oh, how cute. She's here. Oh yeah, last time with the bad delusion, she didn't come, huh? Rimi. Like it was planned from the start. Like the cry of my heart had been heard. Rimi had come to save me. She flung open the door and came racing inside.
Rimi,
Rimi, help me. Rimi looked at me for a moment, and then looked around the room. She saw instantly that the computer was the cause of my fear, making to type at the keyboard with an angry look on her face. Aw. Shut up, jerk. You leave Taku alone. You just need to tell it to him straight. Rimi turned back to me and smiled. That'll get rid of him. Sure it will. Was that really true? Rimi didn't think it was that big of a deal, but maybe that was just because she didn't know a lot about the internet. Wouldn't that just make him even more mad? Especially somebody like Shogun. I gulped and waited for Shogun's next words. They came quickly. Shogun. I'll kill you. That's nice. There was silence. Oh no. I knew that would make him mad. The last sentence sounded really pissed off. His all talk. It's not like he's going to come all the way up here or anything. Anyway, Taku, are you okay? I'm sorry. I saw that you called. I was on my way here, so I couldn't answer. I got worried about you after the earthquake and ran straight over. I'm glad I came. Even as she talked, I couldn't take my eyes off the monitor. The words, "I'll kill you," frightened me more than I could say. No. No. It's fine. I'm here for you now. You don't need to worry about a thing. What did you do? Kill me. Kill me. We need to run. I'm sorry, but knowing what we know, her saying that he wouldn't come up there is funny in a layered way. I mean... Calm down. He's not going to kill you. You're being silly, Taku. I mean... Suddenly Rimi fell silent. Her eyes narrowed and she looked up at the ceiling. Rimi? You good? What's wrong? His eyes. What are those? Rimi? She whispered. Her expression twisted. She put her hands up to her head in pain. My head
急に痛くな
suddenly hurts. Huh? Huh? It feels like it's going to split. It hurts. She fell to the ground, as if unable to bear the pain. She shook her head frantically from left to right.
なんで急に
Why did it suddenly? No. I looked up at the ceiling, beyond it, to where there might be a satellite. Was Shogun attacking? It hurts. It hurts. It hurts so much. It's gonna split. It's gonna split open. I'm just double checking the notes that we did in fact pick a positive delusion. Uh-huh. And then blood dripped from her mouth. The mode suddenly stopped and her body shook. She fell headfirst onto the floor.
リミ。
Me. There was no answer. She wasn't moving at all. She'd been killed. Shogun's electromagnetic wave attack from the satellite had killed her. It was such a quiet way to murder. He'd killed Remy without making a sound, smell, or anything else that would let you detect him. And the silence only made it more horrifying. There was nowhere to run. I dropped to my knees right there and tried shaking her shoulder.
ね
Wake up.
え、起きてよ。
Wake up,
リ
Remy.
ミ。
There was nowhere to run anywhere on Earth.
僕を置いていかないでよ。
Don't leave me. Shogun could attack me anywhere I went.
こんなの。
This,
こんなの。
this,
こんなのもう
this
それ
has
決ま
to
っ
be
て
a
る。
delusion. Well, lucky you, buddy. I came back to my senses and saw I was in front of the computer monitor. Mimi's comment was gone. Shogun's "I'll kill you" was gone too. I looked around the room and Rimi's corpse was nowhere to be seen. I was relieved to know she had been killed. But it was disappointing to know that she hadn't really come. Why? Why didn't you come? Can you see how scared I am? Okay, this isn't one that matters. It was you, wasn't it? Senna's hot breath tickled my cheek. Her face was so close, I worried she might bite me. Hello? Why was this woman so violent and scary? Save me. Somebody save me. Do you have anything to do with the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light? You good, buddy? That was a sound. The Cosmic... what? Who taught you how to use that power? Senna's voice sounded tense. I never heard her like that before. But I didn't know what she meant. All I could do was frantically shake my head. What I saw, that was impossible. You can't make an error real without using a D-sword. Who taught you how to do that? Who was it? Answer me. Nobody had taught me anything, but if anyone had, it was... Ayase. I couldn't breathe. I was going to suffocate. I was passing out, dying. I couldn't stay awake. Rip. It was nice knowing you, Taco. Just before I passed out, Senna suddenly let go of me. I collapsed where I stood. I coughed and tried to force as much air into my lungs as I could. What the hell was going on? Was Senna my enemy after all? Was she working with Shogun too? So I had to get out of here.
本当に天聖
You
信
really
仰会
don't
と
have
は関係
anything to
ない
do
ん
with
だ
the Cosmic Church of the Divine, right? Divine Light, rather. Who the hell was the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light? Never even heard of them. Send us on my confusion. I looked momentarily annoyed, but finally stopped glaring at me. She sighed.
悪かった
I'm sorry.
関係な
If
いなら
not,
いい
then fine. She didn't sound apologetic at all as she turned to leave. Sue and Husky both suddenly fell silent and then looked up to the ceiling. They both gave each other a knowing glance. Yeah? You. Sue sighed, and the bothered expression vanished from Hazuki's face.
見られていたな。
They saw us.
その目誰
His
なの
eyes are those,
Yeah.
right? The two were suddenly speaking as if they were friendly with each other. There's something in their words that made it clear they'd known each other for a long time.
西条拓
Did
海
you
のオリ
find
ジナルは
Takumi
見つかった
Nishijo's
か。
original?
いいえ
No.
この病
It's
院
clear
内
he's
にいる
somewhere
こ
in
と
the
は分かってい
hospital,
る
though.
これカルテ
This is the chart.
彼は無
He's
遊
a
病だわ
sleepwalker. She handed him the chart, despite her reluctance to do it a moment ago. She had it on her, as if she'd known he was going to come.
助かる。
Thanks.
じゃあ予定通りに
Time to
オー
lure
フロ
him
ントに
to
奴を
front
誘導して
and awaken him,
覚醒
as
させるか。
planned.
接触す
You
る
going
の
to make contact with him?
あ、
Yeah.
顔
I'll
は
cover
隠
my
すけど
face,
な。
though. He gave her a mischievous smile, then gave her a quick kiss on the lips. Oh. Oh, they're together like that. Okay. Like, I was gonna say something about, like, how they're obviously in cahoots, but damn. A kiss on the lips? Scandalous. But thinking on it, when Takumi first talked to Suwa and Ban, Suwa directly asked for Takumi's phone number, right? As like a means of communication to like keep him protected. Like that was Suwa's idea, if I recall correctly. Like now that I'm thinking about it. Like... Time to put on my costume and head to the party.
Yo- よし繋がった
You could. She picked up. Whose phone was ringing? Yeah. Neutral. None of me hadn't picked up yet. Come on, pick up already. We just have to call home. Yeah, that was the fastest way. I ignored the ringtone in my room and hung up. Fair enough. It stopped. The mysterious ringtone had disappeared. My room was suddenly quiet. There was a tiny little bit of lag, but the ringing had stopped. Almost at the same time I hung up.
なんで
Why? I got even more confused. I didn't know what to do. All I could do was look around my room. I say look around, but I wasn't looking at much of anything. I was just moving my head. My mind was a complete blank. It called on me again. I told myself that maybe this time I wouldn't hear the ringtone. This time she might pick up. My hopes were dashed without mercy. The cheerful melody had started up again within 2 seconds of me calling her. There was no doubt about it now. I couldn't avert my eyes from reality anymore.
この部屋に
It's
ある
in this room. Nanami's phone was somewhere in my room. Why? Had Nanami found it? Or... Here we go. Why are they all looking at me? Psychic boy? What the heck? Why were they fixated on me? Neutral time. It was like a crowd chant at the soccer or volleyball game. All the Dokyans and Scramble Crossing started to chant. Did they all have a meeting in advance to arrange this? Or was the Shogun mind controlling them? They were all raising their hands, shouting the same phrase in perfect unison. They were insane. I shivered. The chant continued. Between the chants, I could hear the Dokyu girls screaming at me. Over here. I love you. Yeah. When I listened closer, they were all making fun of me. They were all just laughing and enjoying my misery. All they cared about was their own fun. This was a big festival, and I was the sacrifice. And all they cared about was joining in the big party. They're all Dokyu scum. Nobody was going to save me. They all wanted me to die here. Their mass psychosis was going to kill me. And they were doing it out of hatred or anger, just for fun. I saw a sword. Yes. I saw a sword clearly. I'm gonna save because I don't trust this game for me to not fuck up, actually. Just to be safe. Anyways, I saw a sword clearly. Also, yes. If I could move from here, I could go get it. No. I could see the sword someplace that wasn't here too. No. It's not actually a sword. Yes. Yay, we survived. Dots. It doesn't matter. But not in me. She's a little brat anyway. Oh, shut up. Hang on. I'm typing for the litter box to need some help. If you somehow managed to save her here, she probably wouldn't even thank you, would she? Yes, she would. The truth of what Seida-san had said stopped me in my tracks. She was right. Even if I stayed Nanami here, I knew exactly what she'd say. This only happened to me because of you, jerk. She wouldn't be grateful. She'd just be mean. I spent the rest of my life with my whole family hating me. At the end of the day, she was just a 3D sister. She wasn't moe. She wasn't pretty like a 2D character. She was always looking down on me. She was always secretly, no, openly making fun of me. Whatever happened to that little brat wasn't my problem. Maybe I could risk my life for Seida-tan, but not for her. Taki, just think about yourself, okay? I don't want you to die. I want to keep talking with you like this, inside your head, forever. I want that too. Talking to Seida-san was what made me happiest. What to Nanami didn't matter. Chapter 7. But why this hospital? I'm not sure if that is what would have also been, regardless why had I been brought here. I'm gonna guess yes. What happened to my little highlighter that I was checking off with? Whatever, I'll just use a different one. But yeah, I'm going to assume either way, all this chapter we need negative, negative, so... We've already done the negative triggers, so... Bloop. Oh boy, another one. I didn't have any reason to come to school anymore. My one reason had disappeared. I think I'm just gonna do all negatives for this chapter just to be on the safe side. Plus we already have done them, so we can just like, neom right on through. Right, that. Forgot that was the negative delusion there. Oh boy.
5分くらいなら
About 5 minutes, Nana. Yeah. So you're not worthless. You can have this. Yeah, okay. So that's definitely for sure the other one, so that means pretty sure we got the other one too. Cool. A visual novel getting skipped is definitely an experience. Yeah. Yeah. Time for another negative delusion though. Here we go. The photo it took. Okay. And on to chapter 8. Let's go. We're almost at the end. Let's go. This isn't the one. Kimmy had asked me for the impossible as she sat down on my sofa.
おーっと
Hey,
ここまで行ったのに
you're still
なお
going to
無視
ignore
し
me,
ますか
huh? I could hear Dreamy standing up. She walked over to me and grabbed the toy D sword off the table. Ignoring my confusion, she raised it high above her head.
そんなタクには
I'll show you then. And then she brought down the sword.
ちょ
Hey! Of course, she was just joking, instead of being serious. But the tip of the sword was stabbing into my back.
え
Hey! Hola! She began to whack me on the head with it, and when I tried to brush it away, she skillfully dodged my hand.
ねえねえ
Come
もっ
on,
と楽しいこ
let's
と
do
しよう
something
よ
more fun.
じゃないと本気で
Or
切
I'll
っちゃうぞ
slice you in half.
楽しいことって
Fun. Rumi was bringing down the sword to chop my head off. She paused in mid-strike and thought,
じゃあ
I don't
ゲー
know,
ムとか
a video game?
ほらタク
You're
は
good at
得意で
those,
しょ
right?
対戦ゲームしようよ
Let's play a fighting game.
私そういうの
I've
やっ
never
たこと
played
ない
one,
から
so
い
you
ろい
can
ろ
show
教
me
えてほ
how.
しいな
Unfortunately, the only games they had were H games in ESO. Neither of them had a two-player mode.
無理だよ
I can't.
ソフトが
I
なく
don't
て
have any. I grabbed the sword by the blade and pushed it away. Mimi pouted, upset, and put the sword back where it had been.
だって
It's
せっ
been
か
so
く
long
久し
since
ぶり
we've
に会え
seen
たの
each
に
other. I wanted to do something fun. I appreciated the sentiment, but right now, I just didn't feel like having fun with Rimi.
メールだよ
You got mail, dork. Well,
今の
what was
何
that?
あいや
No, Yumi just heard my Sataton email voice. It was really embarrassing. Eee. Fuckery. The room was small and simple in layout.
どこ行ったんだ
Where did she go?
さあ
I don't know. The window was open. The wind is blowing into the room, making the white curtains billow. It's been bothering me ever since I came into the room. I felt awful. Negative delusions coming on. Like she might have jumped out the window. Like if I looked down, I'd see her below, covered in blood, prints splattered on the pavement. Well, that's what the negative delusion would have been, yeah. I had to see. I walked toward the window with shaking legs, like a man possessed. I stood at the window. The sky was the color of evening. The air was crisp with the sun of fall. What would I see if I looked below? Something terrible. I gulped and very, very slowly leaned out my head and looked below. There was nothing there at all. I couldn't see Ayase's body on the ground below. I must have been overthinking things. Relieved, I went to pull my head back inside. Suddenly, I noticed something. The window on the floor below ours. There was a towel there, flapping in the wind. I thought it was just a white towel, but I could see what looked like blue letters on it. The way it was flapping made it hard to read. And I didn't really care about it anyway. Why should I care about the lettering on a towel? Because it says Sonome Darenome? But for some reason, I found myself trying desperately to read it. Now that I looked closely, I saw that the letter said, "Whose eyes are those?" I couldn't speak. I couldn't look away. And then... an unseen hand pulled the towel inside. As if they'd known I'd seen it just now. No, that was impossible. There was no way that somebody I knew could be occupying the hospital room exactly below this one. And even if somebody who wasn't a patient was waiting there for me, they'd have no way of knowing if I'd look out the window or not. There weren't any security cameras in the room. It was just a coincidence. It had to be. But what if it wasn't? Terrified, I looked back toward the door. Nobody was there. The door was closed. I backed away from the window, feeling scared and creeped out. Don't think about it. Force yourself to not think about it. It was a coincidence. It was just a coincidence. I kept repeating that to myself over and over.
見ろよタク
Look, Taku.
変な本があ
There's
る
a
ぞ
weird book here. I looked up in shock when Misumi said my name. Let's keep... oh, okay. Hmm. Gladiol. No, I remembered. Negative. We've been through this though, so. I asked her to show me her sword. Huh? Did that mean me could see these swords too? I thought so for a moment, but I was wrong. Remember how we were telling blah, 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 blah. Remember how we were telling me about how she had a sword? I wanted to see it.
それで引っ叩かれ
And
た
she
のか
slapped you?
意味わからん
That's weird.
岸本って
All Kishimoto
Ken no
does is
話ばっか
talk
してるの
about
にな。
swords all day.
さっきも病室
The
に入っ
minute
た
we
途
got
端
inside her room, she started talking
Gladiator
about
がどう
her
とか言い出して
gladiolas
マジ
something
ビビ
or
ったぜ
other. It scared the heck out of me. Hmm. Interesting. Um,
それって
what does that mean? Nurmi seemed lost in thought.
もしかして
You're
Go
going
yoshi
to
ni
introduce me
shoukaisu
to your
みたいな流れ
parents? Blah blah blah. Nurmi said something so ridiculous. Her mouth fell open.
だとしたら
I need a little more
この準備
time
が
before
まだ
I'm ready.
違う
No,
そうじゃなくて
not like that. That's cute. And suddenly, a high pitched sound stabbed my ears. It was like a girl's scream. This again. Chapter 9, let's go. She met several police officers after what had happened with her sister. Didn't have a high opinion of any of them. As she should. That's right, nothing was wrong at all. I was being silly. Nothing was wrong with the world at all. Uh-huh. She spoke. Quietly. Here we go.
少なくともあの時
There were at least
あの
4
場所では
deletions
4
synchronized
つの
there
妄
at
想が
that
シン
point.
クロしてた
Yeah, this one isn't one that matters. I cut her off. I put my hands tight over my ears.
妄想は
No more
しないで
deletions. Well, it was gonna be a neutral one anyway. Me. Her voice was quiet and plaintive, but it was in order. I gulped. That saved me when I was in trouble. And it kept my mind from breaking. Her voice was kind. All the colors seemed to have gone out of the world. There was no hope to be found. My life had no meaning. The cold twilight wind was stealing the heat from my body.
そりゃ新作じゃねえよ。
That's not the new one.
先週出た
It's the one from last week. I think it's sometimes the thing actually getting a little stuck. But that's okay. Yumi's number. Nanami's number. Maybe I'd be better off dead. If I wasn't real, there was no point in me being alive. This isn't one that I need to decide on. I took a heavy, slow step forward. I found a spot without a traffic light. I staggered out into the road. I felt like salvation was waiting for me there. The bright lights of a car's headlights, the piercing noise of a car's horn, the unnerving sound of screeching brakes. Come on, kill me. I'm not real. I'm a monster. Kill me. And the impact never came. I opened my eyes. The car stopped in front of me. I was still standing in the middle of the road. The driver got out and was screaming something at me. He was poking me in the chest and yelling. Why? I fell to the ground and started to cry.
どうして
Why
殺
won't
して
you
く
kill
れ
me?
ないんだ
Why wouldn't anybody save me? Why wouldn't anybody free me? If I wasn't real, did that mean I wasn't even worth killing? Oh boy. But right now, Sayata was all I had. What if that's what I thought? Why not do something about it? I was just pretending to be the hero of my own big, sad story. Nobody would take pity on me if I just sat here feeling sorry for myself. Nobody was looking at me. Everybody had abandoned me. No, never even close enough to me to abandon me. Never had any friends. Didn't even have a family. Didn't even exist.
オタクばっかり
My
並
mom,
べてる
Takar, and I. Fine then. Just die already. Ah, right. I put Sayata down and stood up from my chair. I found a roll of cord under my bed and picked it up. Oh. I made a loop in it big enough for my head to fit through, and then tied the other end tightly to the pipe that served as the edge of my bunk bed. Outside, then. Outside, if that's what you all want. There's nobody to stop me. There's nobody but me in the room, of course. The cord was tied pretty tight. Risk that dying might be easier than I thought. And this is the neutral delusion. I stuck my head through the loop and wrapped it around my neck. The bunk bed wasn't tall enough for me to hang myself from it while standing. But if I kicked my legs out from under me, that wouldn't matter. All I needed was the courage to do it. I gave Sayata one last glance. She was smiling at me from the desk. The only ones who were there to see me go were Sayata and the rows of wives on my shelves. I was so sad, so lonely. I felt a sniffle in the back of my nose.
さよなら
Goodbye. I put my whole weight into the cord and kicked my legs out in front of me. The cord tightened around my neck. I could feel the pressure. It was biting deep into my flesh. It hurt. I realized both of my hands had their fingers up my neck, trying to loosen the tight noose. I went to bring my legs back down and stand. But then I wouldn't be able to die. If I didn't keep putting my full weight on it, I wouldn't be able to strangle myself. I decided to just endure the pain. My throat hurt. It wasn't the lack of air that hurt so much as the pain of the cord digging into my neck. Come on, die already. The pain continued. It was so painful that I couldn't even pass out. My body shook. I was spinning in circles, looking like an idiot with my legs kicking out. The pipe on the bunk bed creaked, and then my body lost its support. I fell butt first on the floor. The pain from my pelvis made me roll around on the floor in agony. I gasped for breath. I looked up at the cord with teary eyes and saw that it snapped in two.
なんだよそれなんなんだよ
It's not fair. Why was I failing now? Sure, I was a loser. I was a failure of a human being who'd never done anything worthwhile in his entire life. Well, I wasn't even human. But it wasn't fair that I couldn't even die. Why couldn't I die? I wanted to die. I wanted to die. After the pain I experienced trying to hang myself for the first time, I have the courage to try it again.
楽に死ぬ方
Somebody
を
taught me an easy way to kill myself. Even now, I'm still looking for others to help me. It was so disgusting. I made myself want to vomit. I really was so pathetic. Whew. And that was the neutral delusion. Like, why was the bad delusion honestly more tolerable? Here we go. That voice. Positive.
あ、やっと出てきた。
Oh, there you are.
生存確認。
Survival confirmed. Then I opened the door. I froze. The way she was acting was just so normal. She was the same overly cheerful girl I knew so well. All I could see was... And I could see a white bandage on her right hand, too. When I got on that phone call hours ago, where she told me to give back her right hand, her voice that sounded so awful. And now here she was, smiling at me. She had a bandage on her right hand, too. It didn't make sense. Nanami's presence here didn't make sense. Oh, now I see. It's just another delusion. I never even had a little sister named Nanami. That's right. That has to be right. I ignored Nanami. I went back inside to sit down on my sofa. I gripped the Seidaton figure again. I was holding it a little too tightly, and my hand hurt a little. And even that pain was a delusion.
お兄、どうした
Brother,
の？
what's wrong?
元気ないじゃん。
You look down. The whole world was just a delusion. Delusion taking place inside my brain. Me and everything I was seeing right now. All delusions. All fake.
徹夜でゲームでもやってたの？
Were you up all night
もっと人
gaming?
間らしい生
Why not
活
try
した
living
ら？
like a human being? Up.
な
Huh?
になに？
What?
黙れ
Shut up.
ちょっと。
Hey,
そんな
you
言い
don't
方
have
しな
to
くて
be
も
so
いいじゃ
mean,
ん。
do you?
お兄だからって。
Do you think you could say
何言っても
whatever you
許される
want
とか
to?
思ってる？
Just because you're my big brother?
黙れ
Shut
よ
up.
もう
You're
そう
just a
妹
delusion.
が
妄想？
Delusion. I leaned back on the sofa and looked up at the ceiling. Started to count the rust spots there for no real reason. I didn't want Nanami to be in my field of vision. It just made me even sadder. Not that it mattered how sad I was if I didn't even exist.
ねえお兄、
Hey,
本当
brother.
に平気？
Oh, you're really
いつも
okay?
と全然様子が
You're
違
not
うけ
usually
ど。
like this. She was worried about me. My non-existent sister was worried about me. Somehow, that pissed me off. Why is she even coming to my room anyway? And said she could.
あ、わか
No,
った。
I get it.
お腹空いたん
You're
でしょ。
hungry. I clenched my jaw hard.
だったら、ナナが
You want me
何
to
か
make
作
you
ろうか？
something?
取れ
Take it.
鳥って言った？
What did you say?
鶏肉？
You feel like chicken? I hadn't said anything about chicken.
鶏肉だと、
Hmm.
やっぱ唐
Fried
揚げ
chicken,
かな。
maybe?
でも
I've
一
never
人
made
で
that
作
on my
った
own,
こと
though.
ないし。あ、
Oh,
別にお
I'm
兄
not
のリク
making
エ
it
ストがあ
just
ったから
because you
作
asked
る
me
わけじゃ
to.
ないからね。
I was thinking
ナ
I
ナも
wanted to
今
eat
日は
chicken
鶏
too.
肉で何か作りたいなって思ってただけだよ。
This Nanami was really trying to make me mad. The fact that she was just like the real one was only making it worse. No, wait. Harumi told me that there never was a real Nanami in the first place. So maybe this was the real one. The real Nanami? My head was starting to hurt. So I stopped thinking. It didn't even matter. It was all just a delusion anyway.
応対取れ
Take off your Bandage.
取ってみろ
Take it off.
ボケが
Damn it.
包帯って
Bandage.
あ
Oh,
これ
this?
転んで打撲しただ
I
けだ
just
し
bruised it when I tripped. Bruised. Was that true or a lie? I'd know if she took it off.
ほんとわが
You're
まま
really
なお兄
damn
だな
demanding older brother, you know?
じゃあ約束して
Okay
よ
then. Promise
ナナが
me.
包帯
If
取
I
ってみ
take
せ
it
た
off
ら
and show you,
お兄も元気
promise
出
me
す
you'll
って
cheer up. I could hear the sound of rustling cloth echo quietly throughout the room. My ears are ringing. My head hurt. This is all just a delusion anyway, so I didn't care.
はい
Here,
これで満足
satisfied now?
ってちょっと
Hey,
お兄
brother, I took it off to show you,
まだまだ
so the least
ちゃ
you
ん
can
と
do
見
is
てよ
look. I slowly lowered my gaze. Nanami had rolled up her sleeve and was showing me her right wrist, and on her thin arm. I could see dripping blood. Cut into the wrist were the words.
その目誰の目
Whose eyes are those? There was a flash of light across my vision, and it disappeared. The bizarre cuts on her wrist were gone. I took a moment to catch my breath. I bit down hard on my lip. Nanami was rubbing her wrist on the spot where the bandage had been.
青あざだいぶ
The
効い
bruise
て
has
くれた
mostly gone
な
away. It
最
was
初
really
はす
bad
ご
at
く腫れてたん
first.
だよ
I didn't know if that was true or not. There wasn't any kind of injury there, but a moment ago there had been. Nothing made sense anymore. I didn't want to think about any of it. I leaned my head back into the sofa again.
ね
Hey,
え
not
ナナ
me.
ミ
I called out to the girl in front of me. You might or might not be my sister.
お前が本物で
I
も
don't even
偽物で
care
も
if
ど
you're
っちでもいいよ
There's only one thing I wanted to now.
僕を殺してくれないか
Kill me. All the evil in the world. All the chaos in the world. This is your second shot for revenge. This one's supposed to be neutral. Let's go. Last one. And then, the crowd in front of me parted, like Moses parting the sea in the Bible. A single road beckoning me forward. They've been waiting for someone. Me. It's the first annual Let's Lynch the Fake Psychic Takumi Nichijou while we all scream whose eyes are those party in Shibuya. That incredibly long title came into my head and I laughed. I know this man is not well, but Jesus fucking Christ, what was that laugh? I didn't want any pain, but if I could die here, I was willing to put up with it.
僕が死ぬには
Is this the perfect place
なって
for
いい
me
んじゃ
to
ない
die?
か
I understood what Seita meant by a second chance. I had been able to die last time, so now she'd given me another chance. I began to work my way through the crowd, an idiot smile forming on my mouth. I found myself at a place where rows and rows of reporters were lined up with cameras and microphones. The media seemed on edge, just like the rest of the crowd. There was a lot of noise, but nobody seemed to be having fun. There was none of the joy and excitement they'd shown when I'd embarrassed myself at O front. They were all staring at me. Their eyes were cold and sharp. There was something akin to murder in their gaze. My hopes grew even higher. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me! Mimi's past. Mimi's feelings. The voice came back inside my head. It was Remy speaking, but she was saying things I'd never heard her say. Okay, I think it mainly gets caught up on, like, the text where it's like, here's this little part, here's the rest of it. Yeah. Disgusting. Even if it's creepy, even if it's never going to happen. There's something I had to do. Me, the sword. They looked at me with disgust, hurt me with their words. My nails were torn off. I was punched again and again in the face. My hair was ripped out. My nose was bitten off. My tongue was yanked from my mouth. My blood was drained. My anus was raped. My genitals were smashed. My arms were cut off. All my bones broken. Stabbed with sharp ones. My organs were torn out. Eaten by huge beasts. Pushed off high places. Chapter 10. No more things we have to decide. Now we'll be playing Spot the Difference with endings. Why this is ending B. I am awfully curious for what's going to be different. Shinsen Station was one station away from Shibuya on the Inokashira line by train, and took only a minute to get there. The station itself was covered by a tunnel, and the only light from the outside came from the entrance at the end of the platform. Because of the earthquake, all the lights were off. It was far darker than usual. Nami-sana stepped inside, supporting the body of Kozue Urihara as she walked. There was no need to buy a ticket. There weren't any station attendants around. The ticket machines weren't working either. She looked over at the rails and saw that they were badly bent. Of course, the trains hadn't been running since yesterday. Kozue occasionally moaned in pain, but she was still unconscious. There was blood on her forehead. She'd been caught up in a building collapse during the earthquake and hadn't woken up since. Gigglomaniac powers couldn't heal injuries. The pain made your brain realize the injury was real, whether you wanted it to or not. You couldn't create a shared awareness that the injury didn't exist. You couldn't make it so it never happened. Your human instincts wouldn't let you. And with Kozue unconscious, there's no way to create a shared awareness either. Said it could do nothing for Kozue right now. When she reached the empty platform, Sana set Kozue down and leaned her up against the wall. She wore a frown on her face. She gave Kozue only a glance before looking out toward the rest of the station. She glared at a single point on the platform, teeth gnashing in rage. I finally found you. At the end of the platform were two figures. Color me intrigued. Why is this fucker here too? One, a tall man wearing an expensive suit. He gave off an aura of elegance and distinction. He stood up straight and tall, with a confident smile on his lips. The other was a homeless man dressed in filthy rags. His hair was a mess, and his beard was far too long. His head was slumped forward, so you couldn't see his face clearly. The two were polar opposites. And yet, they were standing together silently on the empty platform. They had one thing in common, though. Sana hated both of them. Understandable, have a nice day. Kanichi no Rose and Issei Hatano. She could never forget their names. So, both of the men who killed my mother and sister are here waiting for me, huh? Once, Senna's mother and little sister had met a terrible fate right in front of her eyes. These two men were the ones responsible.
私の本意
It
では
wasn't
なかっ
that I
たんだ
wanted
セ
Senna.
ナ
The homeless man, Hatano, sounded sad as he spoke.
あの実験を止めよ
I
うと
tried
し
to
た
stop the experiment,
だ
but
が
once things were set in motion,
私一人では動き出した歯車は止められなかったこの男が
this man. Hatano glanced at Narose. Narose said nothing. He remained aloof and undisturbed.
この男が
This man
実
ordered me
験の
to
継
continue
続
the
を
experiment.
指示した私は
I didn't want what
あの結
happened.
果を望んではいなかった悪いのはこ
It's
の
not my
男
fault. It's his.
ノロセなんだ
Narose's.
分かってくれ
Please understand.
セナ
Senna. Senna felt like she was going to throw up as she listened to her father speak.
お前は
You left
母
mom
さん
and
と
my
妹
sister
を
to
見殺し
die.
にしたそれが厳然
That's
と
the
した
truth.
事実
No
だ
matter what you say.
悔いているなら
If you really wanted to
どうして
repent,
逃げた
why did you run?
世界を
To protect
守るた
the
めだ
world.
でたらめを
Bullshit.
親に逆らうのは
The
感
girl
心
should
しま
listen
せ
to
ん
her father. Oh, shut the fuck up, you. Nonase spoke for the first time.
確かに
That's correct.
君の家族が
The
悲劇
tragic
的な
end
結
that
末を
befell
迎え
your
たのは
family came at my
私が指示し
orders.
た結果ですもう十分デ
We'd
ータは
gathered more
取れ
than
ていた
enough
ので
data,
ね
you see.
実に有
The
意義な
experiment
実
was a
験で
very
した
productive one.
有意義
Productive? Senna reeled booted the D-sword in her hand. The shockwave of its reality shook her long black hair.
この男を殺せ
Kill
セ
this
ナ
man, Senna.
こいつが
He's the one
元凶
behind
だ
all this.
言われなくても
You don't need to tell me. Senna was already running. She got closer without even taking the time to raise her sword. Her speed was incredible. Her target was Ganaichi Norose. She swung the sword. It sliced through the air. Norose's head went flying. Senna watched it go. Norose's head suddenly blurred in midair. It changed into the face of her father. I saw that coming. She gasped and looked at the headless corpse in front of her. A moment ago, it had been wearing a suit. Now, it was dressed in the rags of a homeless man. It slumped and fell backwards. Senna's eyes went wide with shock as she turned to look at Hatono. He looked up at her too. A mocking smile appeared on his bearded mouth. His face blurred, his body blurred. Fucker. And in the next moment, Senna was standing in front of a man she'd never seen before. His age, face, and bearing were all totally different than her father's. Senna was confused. She stared again at the head of the man she just killed. He was lying on the ground now, spilling blood everywhere. It was her father's face. It was her father's head. Senna couldn't look away from it. Hallucination, induced by delusions. That was what this was. Senna's breathing got shallower and more violent.
セナちゃんさ
Listen, Senna. The man who had been her father a moment ago, and was now someone totally different, is calling her by her first name.
君が今やったことっ
And what you
て
just did was the
結
same
局
thing your
お父さんと
father
同じ
did.
っすよね
Am I wrong? This is what Senna had wanted for the past 6 months. That was what she had wanted a moment ago. But for some reason, and now she started to panic. Her father's eyes were staring at her from their lifeless sockets.
父親の首跳ね
You
て
chopped your own
殺すって
dad's head
え
off.
ぐいな
Damn.
と
Dad.
さ
Why was it such a mental shock to her? Without knowing why, she felt the sound of something snapping deep inside her ears. I heard a voice. It was the voice of Senna's heart. I followed the maddening scream to Shinsen Station. By the time I got there, it was already too late. There was a faint smell of blood inside the dim station, Kuzupi was lying up against the wall. She wasn't conscious. And on the platform, I could see Senna sitting with her back to me. She was looking down, and her long hair made it impossible to see the look on her face. Next to Senna was a headless corpse. I realized that the round thing a short distance away had once been its owner's head. It was hot to know, I realized, and I bit my lip. It looks like today's my lucky day. The man was standing on the tracks. The man was wearing a suit, but he had a big backpack on his back, too. The machine inside was making an awful noise. Mamoru Suwa, a detective assigned to Section 1 of the Metropolitan Police. I met him before, and I knew what he'd done. I came here to get rid of the Hatanos, because they were becoming a nuisance. But Nishijo, I'm happy to see you're here too. I'm supposed to capture you if I find you. Who told you to do that? That's a secret. He had a grin on his face. The way he smiled reminded me of Bon, his partner. But the difference was this. Bon's smile was enough to make someone let their guard down. Sua's slight grin was a reflection of who he really was. Do you know where Narose is? Listen, Nishijo. Sua shook his head inside. You really need to show me some respect. I'm your elder, you know. I carefully jumped down from the platform onto the tracks, keeping my eyes on Sua at all times. I put myself between him and Senna, who still wasn't moving. You're the one who killed them, man named Ban. And if I am? You're a detective. You're not supposed to kill people. You're one to talk. I clenched my D-sword tighter. I don't need to show you any respect at all. Listen. You don't have the right to say shit to me. Even from this distance, I could see it clearly. The way the smile disappeared from his face. You're a murderer too. Don't tell me you're not. You killed Shino Hazuki. If I could, I'd kill you right here and now. Shino Hazuki, the nurse who was behind the new gen killings. Both her and Suba were believers in the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light. But was that all? I gulped. I'm not gonna control myself for the sake of the Divine Light's salvation. But instead, I'm gonna personally see to it that your mind is destroyed. I wanted to raise my D-sword. Not that raising it would help anything. I just did it out of reflex. Just like I thought, it did nothing at all. The next thing I knew, I was in a dark room. There was a man there, standing and talking to an old man displayed on a monitor. Suwa, I would like you and Hazuki to engage in a new spiritual exercise. Yes, anything, sir. I want you to kill a person. Kill who? Who dies doesn't matter. What do you mean? Let's just say there's a good deal of flexibility in the matter. As for who you kill, and how you kill them, you'll be provided with the information you need. The completion of Project NoAH requires us to place considerable psychic stress on a boy named Takumi Nishijo. Stress? To make him afraid. But the boy possesses immense hidden power. Any direct action may result in our own undoing. We will take another route and perform a series of bizarre killings.
たそれだけの
I'm
ため
going to
に
kill
殺人
people
を
just for that.
不満かね
Do you have a problem with this?
シノも
Does
その
she
修
know
行
how
に
to
参加しなけれ
participate
ば
in
なりま
this
せん
as
か
well?
当
Of
然だ
course. It's a
俺は
necessary
信
step
仰
in the
の理想
construction
郷
of our
を築
divine
くためであり
utopia, and
同時
ensuring
に
that both of
君
you
たちに
receive the
信仰の
salvation of the
救いを
divine
もた
light
らすだ
yourselves.
そういうこと
Very
であれ
well,
ば
sir.
時に
Hazuki's
葉
pregnant
月君は
with
お
your
腹に君
child.
の子を授かっていたな予定日はいつか
When's the due date?
あと2ヶ月
2
ほど
months
です
from now.
その子供
You
を
must offer up the child
信
for
仰の
the sake
救
of
い
the
のため
divine
に
light's
捧げたまえ
salvation. You want me
おっしゃいます
to kill my child?
聖なる犠
A
牲だ
holy
よ
sacrifice.
こう
Offer
捧
up
げれ
your
ば
child, and
君と
great
葉月
salvation
君に
will
は
be given
大いな
to
る信
both
仰
you
の
and
救いがも
Hazuki.
たらされるだろう
大いなる信仰の救い
Every time you think this game reaches peak fucked up, it manages to one-up itself? Yeah! Yeah.
かしこまりました
It'll be as you
す
say
べて教祖
later.
様の仰せの
I'm
まま
sure that Shino will be
き
very
っとシノも
pleased
喜び
too.
ます
May the divine
信
light
仰
save
の
us.
救いあれ
After that, I was forced to experience all of the new gen murders. Hey! Look! It's the piece of dialogue that's there in place of all of that. This replaces 500 lines of dialogue, which would have been him experiencing all the new gen murders. And that's how it was allowed to be on Steam. Yay! I'm honestly glad that we don't have to go through that, because that would... That's fine. We get the idea. We don't have to go through all that. Ugh. Like, on one hand, I'm horribly curious, but I'm not curious enough to be upset. And that was wild. Oh, Hades. Oh, Hades, we're not done yet. 7 murders. 14 dead. I was forced into the viewpoint of the victims, killed like they were. Oh god, yeah, no wonder that either that had getting removed. A man in a Darth Spider cosplay and a woman dressed as a nurse killed me again and again. The pain, the terror. I forced to share the victim's sensations. How many times had I died? 3 times? 1 time? 7 times? 4 times? 2 times? 5 times? The human flesh tasted pretty good. Well, you know, every visual novel you've watched be played always has something more weird around the end. Well, this is our second ending, so... You know. It hurts. No more. The Darth Spider outfit's pretty surreal. Good comedy, actually. So, how many times had I died? Who died? I didn't die. The monster was like something out of a horror movie. From what Sue was saying, that thing was actually from Spark Wars 2. But so what? Even flesh tasted pretty good. The bones too. Nice Darth Spider black. Shino Hazuki is sexy, but scary. She's crazy. That's why she's sexy. Hello. Darth Spider was the bones. What was the human flesh? How many times had I died for good comedy? Was it good comedy? I hadn't died. I died. Die. Dead. Corpse. Surreal. No more. Bones. I don't want to die. Black. Dead. So, kill me. The port in Sua's bag was making a strange noise. Sua had heard it enough that he was used to it now. And it was because of the sound that he was able to destroy the mind of a giggly maniac like Takumi Nishijo too. He gave a short silent prayer of thanks to God. Sua wanted to make him suffer, He was the one who driven Hazuki to suicide. Hazuki was Sua's childhood friend. The two of them had lived together for their whole lives. Several years ago, Sua had decided to be a detective, and Hazuki a nurse. He still remembered what she'd said to him that day. I want to have your child, Mamoru. Their parents were both believers in the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light. God and the leader had been with them since the day they were born. Both Sua and Hazuki were treated as the church's shared property, practically raised by it. It had been the leader's will that they be together. And the two of them had been faithful to the church's teachings too, even offering the life of the unborn baby in Hazuki's stomach. Even after Hazuki had become a martyr for the faith, he still believed that everything they'd done was right. There were 7 different cases of the new generation madness. Sua and Hazuki had been behind them all. When his partner, Yosajiban, pointed out the contradiction in the group dive video, he'd been very worried. He'd uploaded the video to YouTube, and he'd made it using memory projection, but several days had passed and his memories were a little blurry. He didn't remember the scenery very well, but without it, the video wouldn't look real. He ended up going all the way out to Cornelius Tower and looking at the photo in the lobby. He had given his photo the reality he wanted, but the photo itself was flawed. He never imagined that the skyline could have changed so much since the photo was taken. And of course, the leader had cleaned up that mess easily. The leader of the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light had many powers. He had made political connections, and his followers occupied many posts of the Metropolitan Police. No matter how much Bond tried, it was going nowhere. Sua's job as a detective, Hazuki's job as a nurse. The leader's help in controlling the media and police. The NoAH system terminals provided by Nozomi Technologies. Sua and Hazuki used all these things to kill and keep killing. And for only one reason. To frighten Takumi Nishijo. To put him under extreme psychological pressure. After he awakened as a giglomaniac, he would be kidnapped and his code sample harvested. Or, if that failed, he hoped to lure out the real Takumi Nishijo and capture him for his code sample instead. Either the real Takumi Nishijo or the copy would suffice equally well. He'd even use the wheelchair to pretend to be the real Takumi Nishijo himself. The divine command had been given to both him and Hazuki, and they both would carry it out no matter the cost. You know, he'd lost Hazuki, but the trail God had set out for him was overcome. He thought of the women he'd loved, and who'd loved him in return, gritting his teeth in sorrow. And then, he began to walk toward Takumi Nishijo, the boy whose mind he just destroyed. Amisena was sitting on the edge of the platform, holding her father's severed head in her hands. Her chest was stained with his blood. She was laughing. Drool fell from her lips. Her eyes were out of focus. Sua gave her a single cold glance. She was a goner, he thought to himself. There was certainly no need to kill her. They had all they needed from her. Of the giglomaniacs brought to Tokyo for Project NoAH, only 2 had not had their code samples harvested. Yua Kusunoki could be left out. She was never part of the plan, which left Takumi Nishijo and Kozue Orihara. The fact that both of them had come here, right into his hands, showed that the divine light was guiding him. This was proof that what he was doing was righteous, and gave thanks to heaven and the leader. He walked over to Takumi, who was slumped forward on his knees, and tried to force him to his feet. But Takumi's body was completely slack. He couldn't even stand. His mind was completely destroyed. Sua gave a snort of satisfaction and began to drag him out of the station. Kuzupi was screaming something. She looked like she was suffering. She looked like she was in pain. She looked like she was having fun. I blinky blinked. Where's Kozopi? She was crucified on some weird object. Rumi was tied up under her. Kozopi was weird. Her clothes were all ripped. And something was moving. Moving. What's moving? Skin. Skin. Like cheeks or necks or arms. Belly button. Thighs. Moving. Squish. Squish. Lots of things were squirming inside Kozopi's skin. Not 1, 10, 20, 30. They had to be parasites. Icky bugs. Kozopi shook her head really hard. Her eyes were all messed up. Drool was dripping from her lips. She looked really stupid. It was funny. There was something on her head too. It had lots of cords, like a toy, like one of those morphing ranger helmets. What are you so XXX about, Takemi Nishijo? It was a man she'd never seen before. Who? I see. You synchronized XXX and XXX with XXX. A very XXX idea. Is this because Kozue doesn't understand the words he's using? But don't be so XXX. I'm sure you XXX's XXX will be given more than enough XXX. Am I next? No. Please. Am I next? No. Please. Am I next? No. Please. No more pain. No more hurt.
Taku.
Taku.
あなたなら
You can stop
止められる
this.
今なら
If you act
止
now,
められる
you can stop this.
あなたなら
You're the only one who can. My hands were bound behind me a moment ago, but the ties had loosened and come undone, like they had a will of their own. Rumi was next to me, tied up. Her eyes were locked on me. They were begging me. There was a huge device in the center of this dome-shaped space, giving off an eerie roar. It was NoAH too, and she wanted me to destroy it. Her eyes were begging me. A sharply dressed man, Norose, was standing with his back to me, watching Kozopi's torture. Okay, we're back to Takumi. Got it. He hadn't noticed my movements. There was no one else in the room. Sue wasn't here either. If I acted now, even I could do it. I was the only one who could. I was scared. Norose saw me. If I failed, the thought made me shiver. This whole game was screwed up, putting me in charge of the fate of the world. But I had to do it. I had an easier time convincing myself than I thought I would. Maybe I had gotten stronger. That's right. I'm strong. I'm strong. I stood up, slowly. Notice I hadn't noticed yet. For the last boss, he was kind of an idiot. Or did he just really like to watch Kozopi suffer? It made me sick and angry. I gritted my teeth. Come out, D-Sword. A ripple appeared in space, and then a pale light. I grasped it. I could feel it. It wasn't hot, or cold, or hard, or soft. I pulled it from the Diraxi. The huge sword fit neatly into my hand.
Nani?
What? Too late, asshole. I wheel-booted the D-Sword. I sent particles into the dead spots of everyone here. I didn't even need to think to do it. It didn't matter how it worked. I just had a picture to my delusions. I held the sword tight with both hands. The light of the D-Sword changed from red to black. Your mind was destroyed. Norose looked at me like he couldn't believe what was happening. He staggered back in panic. I'd won. I grinned. I raised the sword. I formed a delusion. This was a sword of light. It had an incredible power, one that could slice through air itself. If I unleashed its full might and drew it, You could turn anything in the world to dust.
くらえ
Take this.
これが
This is my special attack. But I couldn't think of anything to say, so I gave up on the idea of screaming out a cool manga-style name.
あ
And I unleashed the power I'd given the D-sword at NoAH too. Two months later? 2 months later? You can't just 2 months later that! Whatever. There's not much blue in a winter sky, but it has a clear, crisp feeling you don't find in summer. Morning. I woke up to the sound of my alarm clock and looked up at the sky as I brushed my teeth. It had been 2 months since the big earthquake. Shibuya was still being rebuilt. After the new year, the city was starting to regain some of its old glory. Taku! A voice called me. I turned around to see Rimi coming up the stairs. I hadn't seen her in her uniform since that day. She smiled at me and gave me a salute. Snap!
ビシ
Good morning!
朝ごはん
I'll make a quick breakfast, okay? She had a bag from the convenience store in her hands, with bread, eggs, and milk inside. She went over to the sink and started to cook. She'd been coming over and making my meals every day for the past 2 months. She never really cooked before, she said, so this was her way of getting practice in. I wanted to tell her not to use me as a test subject, but it made me happy to eat a girl's homemade cooking, so I didn't say anything.
今日から学校再
School
開だね
starts today, huh? Sume Academy had been closed since the earthquake. It was finally reopening today. I decided this was the perfect time to quit my quasi-hikikomori life and start actually going to school.
タクトまた学校
I'm
に
happy
帰
I
れ
get
る
to go to school with you again. Yumi cracked an egg as she spoke. It was too cold to eat outside in the middle of winter. Yumi took the 2 plates of toast and scrambled eggs she'd made over to a small, low table. Then we both sat down on the sofa.
じゃあいただきます
Let's eat.
いただきます
Let's eat. We put our hands together, and then I stretched out my hand for the butter on the end of the table. But since Rimi had tried to do the exact same thing, our fingers touched over the container. No. It was like something out of a bad romantic comedy. I chuckled, but still. My eyes met with Rimi's, since she was sitting right next to me. My heart began to beat faster. Rimi didn't look away either, or move her hand away. We both sat there, frozen, fingers touching.
タク
Taku. Rimi wrapped her fingers around mine. She closed her eyes and tilted her jaw slightly upward. I gripped her hand back, softly, and then I moved closer.
朝から何イチャついてん
What's gotten
の
into you two? What?
あ
What? I quickly backed away from Rimi. I looked over at the door. Nanami was looking at us, arms crossed and sighing. Nana! Good morning!
ななみ
Nanami,
心臓に
don't
悪い
scare me like
ことすんなよ
that.
お兄とリミさん
You
っ
and
て
Rimi sure are
ほんと仲い
close,
い
huh?
ね
You have your hand back.
焼けちゃうな
I'm jealous, you know.
ねえね
Hey,
え
hey.
実際のところ
How far have you
どこまで
two
行った
gone?
のどこ
What
ま
do
で
you mean?
またまた
Aw, you know what I mean. Come on, how with it, Mimi? Nanami had picked Mimi as a target, it seemed. She walked right into my room and grabbed my computer chair and sat down in it in front of Mimi.
キスは当然したと
Of course
して
you've kissed.
その
But
先
what
は
else?
ちょっと
Hey,
からか
don't
わない
tease
で
me.
よいいじゃん
Come on,
教えて
tell me.
教えないじゃあお兄
Okay,
教えて
then
よ
brother,
どこ
tell
ま
me
で行
how
ったか
far you've gone. There's nothing to tell her. We hadn't even kissed yet. Or was I such a moron? I had plenty of chances. At this rate, I was never gonna lose my virginity. It's like lonely up what a loser I was, and then sipped my milk.
リミさんがのんびり
If you don't pick up the pace, maybe I'll steal him for myself. Hello. Yep. Good reaction. I spat out my milk.
おに
Brother, that's dirty.
お
Hey,
前
hey, you can't.
冗談だ
It was just a
本
joke.
気にされても
Don't take
困
me
っちゃうわ
seriously. Good. Better have been a joke. Jesus. Don't scare me like that. The three of us headed to school together. Numi was humming that Phantasm song. The three of us took the shortcut through Shoto Park, the one I always used. There were still signs of the earthquake here in the park, like how part of the stone wall around the lake had fallen in. But it was in great shape compared to the center of Shibuya, though.
おはようございます
Good morning. Yu was sitting on the bench where I always sat. She turned to me with a nod and a kind smile. 西条くん
Nishijo. 昨日
I
は
had a lot of
とて
fun
も楽しかっ
yesterday.
たです昨日
Yesterday.
ユアと一緒
And I
に
went shopping with you
秋
in
葉原まで
Akihabara.
買い物に行ったんだ。
あ、わかった
No, I
お
know.
人形さん
They're
でしょ
dolls, right?
フィギュアとい
They're
え
not
よ。
dolls, they're figures. But yeah, we did go buy figures.
新しいセイラちゃん
I put my new Seda up in my
早
room.
速部屋に飾りました私も行きたかった
I
な
wish I could have gone.
リミってフ
Do
ィ
you
ギュ
like
アに
anime
興味あるの？
figures? Rumi gave me a little smile.
うーん
Hmm,
っていうか
more like,
タクの好きなもの
I want
私
to
も
like
好
the
きに
things you
なりたい
like.
し
No.
わあ
Wow,
大胆
a bold
発言
statement.
だったら今
Why
度
don't we all go
一緒に
shopping
買いに
together
行きましょう
sometime then?
え
Huh?
本当
Really?
ありがとう
Thank
ござい
you.
ます
You and Rumi were good friends now. Nanami and Yua had classes in a different building, so we said goodbye at the school entrance. As I was changing into my jacket, somebody blew on my ear. I shivered and looked back. It was Ayase. She had her mouth puffed out, lips forming an O.
おはよう
Good morning,
タク
Takumi.
あ、
Oh,
おは
good
よう。
morning.
おはよ
Good morning, Aya.
うあやちゃん
Yeah. Ayase seemed a little bewildered by what Mimi had called her.
初めてよ
And that's the first time
そんな呼び
that
方
anybody
をされた
called
の
me that.
悪くないわ
I like it.
でしょ
Right?
ファンタズムのライブがあるの
Phantasm has a concert in 2 days. The conversation suddenly jumped to a new topic. Ayase was still as hard to follow as ever.
よかったら来て
I'd be glad if you came.
僕に言ってる
Are
の？
you saying this to me?
匠に言ってるのよ
I'm saying this to you.
それと
And Mimi,
リミ
too. Huh? Really?
絶対
I'll
行くね
definitely go. Phantasm had split up, but I'd heard they suddenly reformed this year. I didn't know what prompted the change, but I wanted to hear Ayase sing again.
でも
But
匠
I
を
won't
渡
let
さ
you
ない
have Takumi. I wasn't sure what but meant, but Ayase reached out a hand and softly rubbed my cheek, as if trying to put distance between me and Mimi. Bye,
じゃあね
Takumi.
匠
She gave me a flirtatious smile and headed up the stairs. I watched her go in shock.
タク
Taku,
鼻の下
you're
伸びて
staring.
え？
Huh? I covered my hand with my mouth.
ちょ
I'm joking. And when I got to the classroom,
たくみさ
Takumi! Kozupi charged down the hallway at me with a dazzling smile on her face. But she collided with a boy who was coming out of the classroom who landed hard on her butt. Aw. She apologized to him with tears in her eyes, and then finally made it to me.
んおはようさん
Good morning!
怪我はない
Are you hurt?
廊下を
Don't
走っ
run
ちゃ
into
ダメ
the
だよ
the
コズピ
Don't run in the hallways, Kozupi.
ー
Unyu. She was fidgeting. She looked up into my eyes.
たくみさんに
I wanted to be the first one to
教
tell
えたか
you.
ったのら
教えるって
Tell me
何を
what?
ね
Look. Kuzupi pointed in the direction she'd just been running from. I looked again and saw Senna, leaning up against a wall. She had her arms crossed and an annoyed expression on her face.
セナ
Oh,
さん
Senna got out of the
退院したんだ
hospital. Senna had been in the hospital the past 2 months, so his psychological attacks had done lasting damage. I mean, yeah, the fucker made her decapitate her own father. Senna looked up and slowly walked toward me. She was as scary as ever. She had a kind of air about her that suggested she might smack you across the face for no reason at all. I'd gone to see her in the hospital twice a week, but no matter how much I tried to talk to her, she never said a single word to me. It was painfully, horribly awkward. Maybe she hated me, or maybe Senna was just an intimidating person. The air grew tense between the two of us, or maybe it was just that I was scared.
というわけで
And so,
今日は
once school's over, let's have a party to
お祝
celebrate.
いをしようしよ
Kuzupi was extremely excited, but Senna certainly didn't look like she wanted to celebrate.
おい
You know,
西条
Nishijo. For the first time, Senna spoke. I shivered. I couldn't look her in the eye.
これを
Here. Senna offered me something. It was a small stick marked winner. Aww.
ん
Oh, it's a winning Garigari-kyun stick, Nora. I took it from her, a little confused. Senna gave me a and looked away.
お前に
And there's something I want to tell you.
なんでしょう
What is it? For some reason, her cheeks look flushed. Was I imagining things? But I'm
お前のことが
in love with you.
好きだ
Huh?
う
Rimi's expression.
おぴ
Oopie? Her sudden confession startled not just me, but Kozupi and Rimi as well. I thought for a moment that maybe she was just messing with me, but Senna didn't tell jokes like that. So, Midge? MDJ? I don't know what that means, sir.
何度も
I was so
お見舞いに
happy
来てくれ
when
て
you came to see me in the hospital.
嬉しかったんだ
D-
言わせ
Don't
るな
make me say it aloud,
baka.
you jerk. She went from soon to today and then back to soon, but still this was all so sudden. Huh? There was a beat, and then Nimi yelled in surprise. Kozupi was blinking her eyes in shock, seemingly unable to understand what was going on.
なんだ先ほど
Oh, Sakihata,
異論がある
you have a problem with that?
張りまく
Of course I do. It's it's just not right.
何
I love the Kozupi sounds. Yumi and Kozupi were totally confused, but I was the most confused person of all. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I looked up at the clear sky outside the window, unsure of how to react. It was only the first day of school, and so many fun things had happened already. Would these peaceful, happy days last forever? I hoped so. I really, really did. And then, suddenly, I saw myself reflected in the window. But what I saw wasn't me. It was an old man with wrinkled skin. And the color and the light disappeared. I was sitting on the ground in a dark space, hands wrapped around my knees. In front of me was the only source of light. It was like a monitor, or a window, or a frame. Inside it, Rimi and Senna and Kozupi were laughing and talking. I couldn't hear what they were saying. As I looked at it, I didn't feel anything at all. Perhaps my mind had been destroyed. Suddenly, I realized. What I'd been seeing was my delusion. A 2D world that I escaped into. A total hallucination. How much of it was the delusion?
最初からですよ。
All of it. I turned around. Noticed I was standing there. But it was so dark that I could only see his feet.
諏訪君に
Suwa
心を
destroyed your
殺され
mind,
たで
didn't
はあり
he?
ませんか。
So, everything after that was a delusion.
君のコードサンプル
We
は
have
採
your
取でき
code
ました。
sample now. We're finished
もう
with
用
you.
済みですから、
Feel free to die
い
at
つで
your
も
own
塵に帰って
convenience.
もらって結構です。
あ
I didn't feel a thing. My mind had been destroyed. Shouldn't have been able to feel a thing. But for some reason, a single tear ran down my cheek. At the very end of everything, I turned back into a loser. I tried to run from a painful reality.
最後に幸
I'm
せな
glad you were
夢を
able
見ら
to
れ
have a happy dream before
て
the
よかっ
end.
たですね。
At the very end of everything, I turned out to be totally worthless. I'm sorry, Rimi. I apologized, but I didn't even know anymore why I had to apologize. I didn't feel any guilt. I decided to go back to the legion I'd been enjoying. Eventually, someone would come along to kill me. Until that happened, I wanted to immerse myself in the happiness of the false world I escaped into. Fuck, dude. At some point, it must have started to rain. Maybe NoAH too made the rain. Eyes above me, their gaze falling down like rain. Their gaze passes through the thick black rain clouds and falls down like rain. It's done for. The owner of the gaze speaks in my heart. I don't feel the cold of the rain. If anything, the drops on my face feel warm. I never felt of warm rain before. Was it because the dome where NoAH 2 has very, very cold? I see the shattered remains of a city. I see despair. I see death. I see nothing. Nobody's here. Nobody's moving. Nobody's alive. Only hears the unending sound of the falling rain. The ark had already set out on its journey. I couldn't stop it. There's nothing left in the future but despair. Is the rain going to keep falling? Until it's washed away everything, living and dead, gently enveloping everything and washing it away. I could hear the whispers of his heart. Such a pure heart. I walk over to him. He's lying in the rubble. It's my fault this happened to him. If only I had handled things better, I could have kept him from getting involved. Miguel eats at me. I blame myself. Forgive me. I'll put an end to your suffering, okay? He was born in such a sad way. And I knew he was going to die in such a sad way, too. His heart was delicate like glass, so timid and afraid. And broken because it was so pure. In the end, at least, I didn't want him to suffer. His empty eyes were looking up at me. I tried to rid myself of all feeling. I'm watching, but I try not to see so that I don't break down crying right here. If maybe. The only things in this world were you and me. And we kept looking at one another like this forever. Would my world be only what was reflected in your eyes? Or would your world be only what was reflected in my eyes? You're reflected in my eyes. I'm reflected in your eyes. When I think about it that way, the world suddenly seems so much smaller. At least for the time you have left, I'll become your world. I'll make it so you don't have to see the painful world, the world of suffering, the world of sorrow. Hey. I whisper. I lean my head forward. I spread out my hands. As if I'm about to take flight toward those rain clouds. Or as if I'm trying to take all the rain into my hands.
あなたを見つめる
The delusion
妄想
that stares at you. I'll give you your rest now. Wings of light dance like they were the gift given by heaven to send him on his way to the next world. Slowly, I drop to my knees in front of him. If I look you in the eye now, I'll cry. So, I'm sorry, I can't. I embrace his head softly. His body is so limp. Like he's prepared himself for death.
辛いよ
It
ね。
hurts, doesn't it?
ごめん、
I'm sorry. I'm so
ごめん
sorry.
ね。今、
I'll put an end to your suffering. Okay?
楽にしてあげるからね。
I could tell from the way he responded that it wasn't just me who wanted that. His smile looked so peaceful. His smile was so sad. The tears welled up. Even though I tried so hard to stop them. I didn't want to let him see me like that. He finally had peace. I didn't want him to worry anymore. I kissed him on the lips. They're cold and rough, and just made me even sadder. When I kiss him, he stops shaking. I feel happy that my warmth was able to help him. If I let go, he'll see me crying. If I let go, I'll want to kiss him again. If I let go, I'll let my selfish desires win, and I won't be able to kill him. I stab him in the chest, my lips still pressed against his. I can feel the blade tearing through the skin of his chest, ripping through the meat, sliding between the bones, and sinking through his body. I'm sorry. You can rest now. Goodbye. Is the sky so blurry because of the rain? Because of my tears? Holding his body as it slowly dissolves into tiny fragments of light. I stretch out a hand toward the sky. Someone, tell me, where did that sky of ours go? Damn. Well, it's nice finally getting Jamie's perspective on that sequence. Bad ending? No. I'm gonna go with no. Like, technically yes, but no. It is ending B. Which I guess B could stand for bad, but it's the second ending. The first ending also ended like this, and the game starts in this scene too. Is a good ending a thing in this? I don't know. Because after this, we have the girl endings, so where we start the routes for the specific girls. And then there's also ending AA, which we can only do after getting all the other endings, and I think that might be the closest to a good ending that we can possibly get for sure. Or at the very least, I'm pretty confident it's a true ending. So there might not be a good ending, like an ending that makes everyone happy, but who knows? But there is technically a bad ending, but that's in chapter 6, when you fail to answer the yes and no questions correctly. You just kind of die, and that's it. That's the game. But I really got that ending because I wanted to figure out the yes and no questions on my own. But yeah. So it's not a bad ending, but it's not a good ending either. It loops back to the beginning, but we got Ruby's perspective. So that's interesting. I mean, the evil organization got exactly what they wanted here. I don't want to say it was good or bad before we go through the other endings. Yeah, it definitely is more bad ending-esque because of that. But at the end of the day, we're back where we started, literally. Like, Even though we got Remi's perspective this time, we're back where we started. So it's not like the first ending was a good ending either because of that. I am curious to see what will be different next time. Definitely curious on that. But we'll find out later. Next week. I do understand why this ending was recommended to get before the, like, character-specific endings, though. So it would have definitely felt a lot more like a bad ending if we had to read through all the murders. I'm glad we didn't have to deal with that. One perk of not being able to get the patch to work, right? Because that would have been rough. That would have been a lot. I wonder what other sci-fi stories you've seen things close out the same way they open. I don't think it's gonna be this how it's going to end for the first not the first, for the true ending, quote unquote. Ending AA, if you will. I'll look at the guide after we exit the game, but yeah. Given how long this took though, I'm pretty confident we just can keep getting ending after ending after ending. So just one ending per episode now instead of like one chapter. It's kind of nice that it worked out that way. Mages are love. Imagine just stopping at the first ending though. That would have been kind of disappointing because there's still so much. Crying Sky End. Yeah, that definitely was more akin to a bad ending, but also not a quote-unquote bad ending at the same time. But yeah, thoughts, class? Oops. Wrong one. Silly me. I don't really have any thoughts to share, to be honest, but, you did get here in time to see the end. Nice. That means you didn't get to spot the difference with the other things, though, which is kind of sad. Because I do like the differences that were there, you know? Let's see. The recommended route order is common route ending A, which makes sense. B, which is what we just did. Nanami, Yua, Ayase, Kozue, Sena, Rimi, and then Blue Sky ending AA. Which definitely sounds like a quote-unquote good ending or otherwise true ending with it being called the Blue Sky. But who knows? Not I. You liked all the little differences between the two routes? Yeah, me too. I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen for the other one. Well, like, interesting to see what's different with all the characters and like how they end and whatnot. Oh right. After playing for a bit, you'll be met with a series of choices. It's recommended to try and solve it yourself first, but the answers are below should you need them. And if you don't get that sequence of yes and no's, we will get ending A. So, ugh. It's recommended to try and solve it yourself first, but the answers are below should you need them. Yeah, I think when we get to the Blue Sky ending for that, because I don't want to get ending A again, I will probably like look at the questions, see what I think the answer is, but then look at what the actual answer is, because I don't want to fuck up. That doesn't sound like a fun time. Like, I like Chaos Ed, but not enough to go through ending A more times than I need to. You must watch the VOD? Yes. Or the edited video would probably be better because a lot of time is just spent skipping. But that'll take a little bit longer. I don't know. Up to you, up to you. Let's see. You meant the VOD? I'm smart. You did say the Vod the first time. You good? You met the idiot video. Oh goodness. Goodness gracious, dear. I know it's 1 a.m., but... Speaking of, how's your wig? How's your wig time? I hope your wig has made considerable progress. You just wrestled Farina for 2 hours, but she looks better now. That's good. Did you get your mom's help, or...? Mother helped, but that's fair. Understandable. Have a nice day. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and raid Violet Mars. They're currently paying Apex Legends, which is not surprising. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. I know we had a later start, so here we are, past 1 a.m. rather than just past 12. But yeah. Next week we'll be getting the Nanami ending, I think was what was recommended. Yeah, Nanami. So that'll be interesting. Kinda nuts that I outstreamed Dai. I started later. Dai starts like at 8. And I started at 9:30, so it's not that nuts. That aside though, tomorrow will be, or I guess technically today, but we'll be finishing up the true ending and Data Live Odyssey install since we only got halfway through because it was long. But yeah, just the usual stuff for the most part. New schedule will be up in the Discord, maybe on Blue Sky as well. But otherwise, I will catch you all next time. Bye bye!